Na-hwi drags herself up the stairs and into her apartment. A cold sense of dread settles in her stomach. This feels like a scene she's watched 100 times in some tragic drama. Two pairs of shoes are scattered near the entrance. An eerie red glow pulses from the living room, casting shadows over empty bottles. The image burns in her mind. Kang Min-cheol and Yoon Ari lost in a heated embrace. There's a common saying that once you witness your partner being intimate with another, you can never go back. Frozen in the hallway, Na-hwi lets out a single, shuddering breath. A woman's soft voice drifts from the living room. Na-hwi peers through the crack in the door, her olive eyes widening in the pulsating red light. The image burns into her mind, and a single thought solidifies. There's no going back. The memory jolts her awake. She sits on a small stool in a drab break room, realizing it was that same dream again, the one of her husband's betrayal. Checking her phone, she sighs, knowing her break is over. As she stands, her boss stops her, beckoning her over and handing her a white envelope. It's the salary advance she asked for. Na-hwi bows her head, clutching the white envelope as her boss explains he doesn't want to lose a hard-working employee who feels like family. She thanks him sincerely. He then pries, asking if her financial troubles are still ongoing and what about her husband, Kang Min-cheol. A weary smile touches Haesu's lips as she lies, claiming Min-cheol is in an apprenticeship and that things will get better soon. Her boss nods, his expression unconvinced, before they both return to the bustle of the restaurant floor. As her shift ends, Na-hwi watches the young couples in the restaurant, a quiet ache settling in her heart. She wonders if her own time for shining so brightly has already passed. In the break room, her coworker listens to her complain about being called auntie. Rejecting the notion, her friend's hands cup Haesu's face, the touch surprisingly warm. She insists Haesu is the prettiest 33-year-old she knows. Haesu tries to brush it off, but a comforting warmth spreads through her as her friend pulls her into a close, sincere hug. Her coworker's bright, easygoing nature lingers in Na-hwi's mind as she walks the lonely path home. A wave of envy washes over her, a feeling tied to a painful memory. The scene shifts to the past. She opens the door to their apartment, revealing Kang Min-cheol sitting amidst a mess of empty bottles. He complains that her bare face makes him not want to come home. When Haesu quietly explains that she can't even afford cosmetics, let alone rent, he scoffs, cruelly comparing her to young part-timers. Kang Min-cheol dismisses her financial fears, calling her lazy for making excuses. As he eats surrounded by empty bottles, he insists she should put effort into her appearance for her husband. His words echo in Na-hwi's mind as she sits silently. Does affection grow old over time? Theirs feels like a damp, tattered basement, a romance that has long since dried up. She questions if it was the years or the endless drudgery of work that withered her. As he complains about the food, a final, painful thought emerges. Maybe it was him who made her this way. At the flower shop, Na-hwi's coworker stares at her packed planner in disbelief. Can a person even handle this schedule? She asks, comparing it to a magical timetable. Haesu, already focused on her tasks, calmly tells her to get ready for opening. As she methodically snips flower stems, her mind drifts. She has never taken a break from work in her adult life. A calendar on the wall, with their 13th anniversary circled, triggers a painful memory. Kang Min-cheol kneels before her, head bowed. Haesu, he says, I'm really sorry. The memory is cold and distant. Kang Min-cheol remains on his knees, head bowed, admitting that his ventures didn't work out. Na-hwi looks down at him, her expression unreadable. She doesn't ask for reasons, only for a number. How much debt did you take on under my name? Mistaking her chilling calm for forgiveness, he looks up with desperate hope and rushes to embrace her. Are you forgiving me? He asks, holding her tight. But her eyes are wide and vacant over his shoulder. In the present, she recalls feeling numb, resolving to simply work to pay it all back. But occasionally, the unexpected wave of emotion hits her, a sudden, crushing urge to weep. The bell above the door chimes as a tall man with broad shoulders steps inside. Na-hwi's coworker immediately recognizes him, whispering excitedly that he's the rose guy, a handsome man who buys roses every day. Haesu glances up, unfamiliar with the nickname, but gives a small nod, letting her coworker handle the customer. The young woman greets him eagerly, her cheeks flushed. The man's intense, steel-gray eyes, however, are fixed solely on Haesu. He ignores the greeting, his gaze unwavering as he observes her working. Instead of answering, He wordlessly places his phone on the counter with a soft tap. A wave of confusion washes over Na-hwi. Her co-worker called him handsome, but to her, he just seemed strange. Pushing the thought aside, she turns to the register and professionally asks, "A bouquet of roses, is that right?" A satisfied smile touches Taeha's lips. "Yes," he confirms, his voice a low hum that seems to warm the air. His steel gray eyes hold hers intently. "You remembered," he states, a note of triumph in his voice. As she looks at him, bewildered, he simply adds, "I'm glad." A slow, low voice responds, and for some reason, Na-hwi's ears feel warm. She hands him the receipt, explaining that his order will take a moment. As she does, a loud rumble echoes from her stomach, breaking the quiet of the shop. Mortified, her eyes widen as she wonders if he heard. Taeha simply takes his seat, crosses his legs, and pulls out his phone. He types a quick, simple message, "Coffee, sandwich." Hae-soo watches him, her heart pounding with embarrassment, praying he didn't notice. The other employee watches the tall, dark-haired man leave, completely captivated by his striking appearance. He collects a bouquet of deep red roses and departs, the bell over the door chiming softly. A beat passes before Na-hwi realizes his mistake. Snatching the small, wrapped box from the counter, she rushes outside. "You forgot your sandwich," she calls out breathlessly. Taeha stops and turns slowly. As his intense, dark eyes lock onto hers, the bustling street seems to fade away, leaving only the charged stillness between them. Na-hwi pushes the sandwich towards him, her face warming as she insists it's a gift. Taeha just turns to leave, but she impulsively grabs his sleeve to stop him. He looks down at her, his steel gray eyes unreadable. "I can't accept this," he murmurs, before a faint smirk touches his lips. "Is it because you have nothing to drink with it?" Before she can process his words, he extends his own iced coffee. "Here." Hae-soo freezes, completely baffled as he holds the drink out, his gaze unwavering. Na-hwi considers the world. Some people are like protagonists in a movie, the center of everyone's attention, surrounded by luxury and glamour. Then there are the others, the background characters in a story no one wants to hear about. She has always felt like one of the extras. That man, Taeha, was obviously a protagonist. He suddenly appeared in her monotonous life, a world that was indifferent to everything but work. He has left now, but the memory lingers, powerful and distinct. He looms over her, a commanding presence, leaving a deep impression on her mind. A current of excitement fills the air at the flower shop. Hae-soo's co-worker insists that the man, Taeha, has been a regular for months, visiting only on the days Hae-soo works. "I think that guy is interested in you," she declares with certainty. Hae-soo is taken aback. She never noticed his daily visits, and the idea feels impossible. Elsewhere, bathed in the warm light of his car, Taeha holds a bouquet of red roses. He lifts them, his steel gray gaze intense as he thinks to himself, "You're so pretty after all." Her co-worker insists she's pretty, but Na-hwi dismisses the words as hollow kindness. The compliment feels awkward, a bitter joke when the man waiting at home offers her no such warmth. As her friend encourages her to pursue the handsome customer, Hae-soo quietly admits, "I have a husband." The reveal stuns her co-worker into silence. Later, back in her cold apartment, that fleeting fantasy shatters. Kang Min-cheol returns home, kicking his briefcase aside. He collapses into a chair, his tired, demanding voice breaking the quiet. "Give me a glass of water." Kang Min-cheol shrugs off his jacket, demanding something other than water. Na-hwi offers barley tea, but he dismisses her, telling her to just add ice before heading for a shower. As the water runs, she quietly picks up the clothes he's dropped. He emerges later, refreshed, to find her already fast asleep. He sits beside her, a strange look in his eye. His hand glides over her form as he silently compares her to other women, deciding her curves are far superior. A possessive warmth spreads through him, thinking she still fits perfectly in his grasp. Kang Min-cheol leans over Na-hwi, his touch seeking a warmth that isn't there. He wonders why she doesn't react. "Hey, Sue," he whispers, asking if she's asleep. Her olive green eyes are open, but her voice is distant as she replies, "No." His frustration mounts as he complains about her unresponsiveness, demanding some kind of reaction. "I'm a little tired," she explains softly. "I had a lot of part-time work." His face twists with annoyance. "Do you think you're the only one working?" he scoffs. Cursing under his breath, he turns away abruptly. The blare of a 6 a.m. Alarm shatters the quiet. Na-hwi rises, her movements heavy with an exhaustion that sleep couldn't fix. Her day begins not for herself, but for Kwon Min-cheol. She moves like a ghost through the apartment, quietly preparing his breakfast, complete with the fresh soup he always demands. After setting his place, she leaves on an empty stomach to make it to work on time. At the door to the flower shop, a bright voice calls out, "Good morning, sister." Forcing a faint smile, she replies, "Yes, good morning." Na-hwi adjusts her apron, her stomach rumbling with hunger. She lets out a quiet sigh, telling herself to just hold out until lunch. The shop bell chimes, and a man's imposing figure fills the doorway. "Welcome," she says. As she looks up, her tired olive eyes meet the intense, steel-gray gaze of Tae-ha. She recognizes him instantly. "Are you here for the flowers?" she asks. His deep voice confirms he is. "It's the rose guy." She clarifies if he'd like a bouquet. "Yes, that's right," he says. "About 10 roses." Na-hwi stands across the counter from Tae-ha, the air between them heavy with unspoken tension. A sharp, red line seems to divide the space, a boundary forming in her mind. She considers the unsettling possibility that his actions aren't pity, but genuine interest. If that's the case, she knows what she must do. Then I should draw a line immediately, right? The thought is a firm, decisive conclusion. She looks at him, wrestling with the need to create a distance before this complicated connection deepens any further. Her co-worker's cheerful question cuts through the silence. She asks about the roses, cheekily suggesting Na-hwi might switch from her partner to the new admirer. A shadow passes over Haesu's face. The energy drains from her expression as she corrects the assumption with a quiet, weary voice. "He's not my boyfriend. He's my husband." The memory flashes back, Kwon Min-cheol's cold voice echoing in her mind. He scolds her for revealing their arrangement, hissing that they split over debt ages ago. He insists she only call him her husband at home. With a heavy sigh, Na-hwi confirms the painful truth. "Yes, he's my husband," she says, her voice low as she pleads to drop the subject. Her co-worker immediately offers a quiet apology. The scene changes to Kwon Min-cheol's sterile office. Heels click against the floor as Yeon-ari approaches his desk with a warm smile. "Min-cheol," she calls out, placing a coffee cup down for him. He looks at the cup, noticing a small, encouraging note stuck to the side. A faint, amused smirk touches his lips as he watches her turn and hum softly while walking away. His gaze lingers on her, his thoughts clear. "Look at this. Ari is really pretty." Outside, Kwon Min-cheol takes a smoke break with his colleagues as the conversation drifts to Yeon-ari. The older men praise her youth and looks, making Min-cheol smirk privately. A co-worker observes that Ari seems completely smitten with the new guy at the office, her gaze changing entirely when she sees him. The attention then shifts. They call Min-cheol handsome and single, the perfect age to meet someone. Isn't Ari quite pretty? One prods, urging him to give it a try. A faint, knowing smile touches Min-cheol's lips as he quietly confirms, "I'm single." A smug grin touches Kwon Min-cheol's lips as he flicks his cigarette away. "Well, should I?" he thinks, entertaining the idea of pursuing Ari. His mind drifts back to a quiet, tense evening. He lounges on the floor while Na-hwi meticulously folds laundry nearby. He dismisses her exhaustion as nagging, then dangles their future as a prize. "Once you get your salary," he says, "we can clear the debt and remarry." His tone turns possessive and cold. "How could you live without me?" he asks, adding a chilling warning. A nagging woman makes a man run away. In a flashback, Kwon Min-cheol wraps his arms around Na-hwi from behind as she folds laundry. He tells her he needs spending money. She looks tiredly over her shoulder as he explains he wants to buy cologne to fit in at his new office. She questions the steep price he names, but he insists he needs a department store brand. When she hesitates, he grows irritated and pulls away sharply. "Fine, forget it," he snaps. The memory fades, leaving Haesu alone, reflecting on how their expenses had already started piling up. Na-hwi recalls the new suit and shoes, acknowledging how expenses can easily outpace income. A heavy sigh escapes her. No matter how much she saves, they're always in the red. The thought of taking on more work feels inevitable, a night shift at the convenience store after her motel job. The only thing to sacrifice is sleep. Her life becomes a puzzle. She divides her 24 hours into pieces, filling every remaining gap with work. She stands as a solitary figure, navigating an endless grid of obligations before heading out the door once more. A memory flashes, the empty entryway of a small home. The words, "for our happy family," hang in the air, a hollow promise. The scene shifts to a dark, greenlit alley where Tae-ha stands with another man. His friend takes a drag from his cigarette, amazed. He questions why Tae-ha would suggest dinner, especially since he avoids noisy places. Tae-ha just says it's nice to get attention. "Call anyone," Tae-ha instructs. His friend smirks, scrolling through his phone, boasting that women will flock to them. But his expression quickly sours into confusion. That's strange. Across from him, a knowing, dangerous smile plays on Tae-ha's lips. His friend notices a distinct change in Tae-ha. "Lately, you seem happier," he says, surprised that the man who avoids cheap restaurants is suddenly so decisive about going out for dinner. Tae-ha just agrees, a faint, knowing smile on his face. The scene shifts. The clinking of glasses fills a bustling eatery. Na-hwi overhears a crude conversation between co-workers about how men seek excitement elsewhere while wives should sacrifice for the family. The words trigger a memory of Kang Min-cheol, his face a mask of indifference, questioning if they'd just grown apathetic. A bittersweet memory of Kang Min-cheol's tender touch flickers and dies. Weighed down by her co-workers' cruel gossip, Na-hwi questions herself. Was she not affectionate enough? Did she ruin their relationship? A voice calling for her shatters the painful thought. "We have a customer." She turns, forcing a smile. "Please, come in." As she asks how many are in the party, her words catch in her throat. Standing before her is Tae-ha. The bustling restaurant fades into a silent, white space, leaving only the two of them standing worlds apart. Na-hwi greets the next customers, her voice a practiced monotone. "How many in your party?" Her words catch in her throat as she looks up. It's Kang Min-cheol, standing beside Yun-ari and another couple. Hae-soo freezes, her mind going blank. A strange memory flashes. Tae-ha holding an umbrella, his voice asking about roses. The thought vanishes as one of the women cheerfully confirms they're a group of four. Jolted back to reality, Hae-soo stammers an apology and quickly leads them to a table, her movements stiff and mechanical. Amidst the restaurant's clamor, Na-hwi-soo's mind drifts to her co-workers' teasing whispers about a persistent suitor. She recalls their gossip, how they thought he was trying to impress her. A confusing warmth flutters in her chest, a feeling she immediately suppresses. She never wanted this attention. Forcing herself to focus, she glances up and freezes. He's here. Tae-ha sits across the room, his intense gaze locked on her. A memory surfaces, another woman's sharp question to him. "Who are you looking at?" The answer was always her. The woman dining with Tae-ha snaps, her voice cutting through the restaurant's noise. "Why do you keep staring at that lady?" The man beside her tries to intervene, telling her to just eat and ignore it. Her frustration boils over, directing her anger at him for always getting worked up over Tae-ha. Completely unbothered, Tae-ha's gaze remains fixed across the room. He gently taps the other man's foot under the table, a silent command. "You're burning the meat," he says, his tone perfectly even. His companion presses on, asking if he knows her. A small, knowing smile touches Tae-ha's lips. A knowing smile plays on Tae-ha's lips as his intense gaze remains locked on Na-hwi-soo. "Isn't it obvious?" he says, his voice smooth and certain. "We know each other." The words drift across the restaurant, causing Hae-soo to freeze in disbelief. The scene shifts to an apartment drowning in bouquets of red roses, a suffocating, obsessive display. Her mind then snaps back to a colder memory. Sitting on the floor, meticulously sewing torn clothes while her husband, Kang Min-cheol, glares from bed, demanding to know why she's wasting time. Kang Min-cheol snatches the clothes from Na-hwi-soo's hands, his expression filled with disdain. He calls her pathetic, sneering that men don't like pitiful women. His cruel words escalate, comparing the worn-out fabric directly to her. Then, his mood shifts in a heartbeat. He suddenly pulls her back against his chest, his arms a tight cage. "You have no charm," he whispers into her hair, his voice laced with a possessive heat. "And despite all that, I'm the only one, right?" Trapped and weary, her eyes go blank as she quietly agrees. In their cold, run-down apartment, Na-hwi-soo endures a life of quiet hardship, telling herself she can bear it all for him. As a weather report announces rain, she crouches to find an umbrella. Pulling one from the cabinet, she opens it to find the spokes bent and broken. A weary resignation settles on her face. It's not completely ruined, so she'll use it. She leaves the intact umbrella behind, deciding Kang Min-cheol can use that one. As she departs, The scene shifts to a bright office where Yun-ari cheerfully heads out for coffee. In the office break room, Yun-ari approaches Kang Min-cheol as he stirs his drink. She begins searching through the cabinets, wondering where the new instant coffee is. Suddenly, she lets out a startled cry and grabs his arm tightly, her face pale with fright. He looks down, momentarily surprised. Trembling, she points and explains that there's a bug. A slow, amused smirk plays on his lips. He finds her reaction cute and offers to capture the pest for her, thinking how refreshing her fear is compared to Na-hwi, who was never bothered by such things. At the flower shop, Na-hwi's co-worker sighs dreamily, remarking that seeing his handsome face is the one comfort in her tough life. Just as she notes he's running late, Hae-soo spots BM Tae-ha approaching through the glass. "Speak of the devil," she murmurs, her face tightening. Feeling a wave of awkwardness, she quickly tells her co-worker she's going to the back and that she should take the order. The bell chimes, announcing Tae-ha's imposing entrance. Her colleague nervously asks if he wants his usual roses, and he confirms, his voice low and steady. As the rain pours down, Na-hwi steps out of the flower shop, feeling a small sense of relief that she avoided BM Tae-ha. She decides she can't keep hiding from him forever. The awkwardness will pass. As she walks, a fleeting, almost habitual thought crosses her mind. She hopes Kang Min-cheol will remember to take an umbrella. A sharp snap breaks her out of her thoughts. The cheap umbrella in her hands gives way, its frame broken. She stands frozen, defenseless against the relentless storm, wondering what she's supposed to do now. Na-hwi stands soaked under a storefront awning, staring at her phone. She considers calling Min-cheol but decides against it, knowing he'd hate it. A shadow suddenly falls over her, silencing the downpour. She looks up to see BM Tae-ha holding a large black umbrella above her head, his imposing frame blocking out the stormy world. His voice is low as he asks where she lives. Hae-soo shifts away, insisting she'll be fine and he can go first. Tae-ha's gaze remains steady. He simply states that the rain will last until dawn, then proposes they share an umbrella. The rain pours down, a steady curtain in the green city glow. Na-hwi clutches her bag, trying to send BM Tae-ha on his way. She insists she'll be fine, explaining her home is far. He looks down at her, his expression unreadable, and states that the rain is supposed to last until dawn. He steps closer, pulling her completely under the shelter of his large umbrella. "Let's just share an umbrella," he says softly. Trapped by the simple, inescapable kindness, Hae-soo looks up at him. Resigned, she murmurs a quiet, "Thank you." They walk in a shared silence, the only sound the steady drumming of rain against the umbrella. He moves slowly, deliberately matching her pace, a small, unfamiliar consideration that pulls at her thoughts. The warmth from his body radiates through the damp air, a stark contrast to the cold night. Trying to break the strange intimacy of the moment, Na-hwi looks up at him. "Your partner won't like this," she murmurs. BM Tae-ha stops walking, his steel gray eyes fixed on hers. "Who said that I have a partner?" he asks, his voice low. A faint smile touches BM Tae-ha's lips as he looks down at her. "She's not my girlfriend," he clarifies, his voice a low murmur against the rain. "She's just a friend." Na-hwi looks up, surprised by his directness. "It's true," he insists, leaning closer. "Please believe me." Flustered, she quietly agrees. Just then, a loud horn blares and bright headlights slice through the downpour. Before she can react, BM Tae-ha pulls her firmly against him, his arm wrapping around her shoulders in a protective reflex. They stand frozen, caught in the sudden, close embrace. The warmth of his chest floods Na-hwi's senses. BM Tae-ha murmurs an apology, explaining he was just worried she'd get hurt by the speeding car. As they step apart, a strange smile plays on his lips. "I'm big, right?" he asks, making her freeze. He quickly clarifies he means his height, which he used to shield her from the splash. Na-hwi stares, her confusion deepening when she sees it. The entire side of his expensive coat is soaked through. Her mind races. No one does this for a stranger. Na-hwi realizes his expensive coat is soaked while she remains perfectly dry. She knows she has to draw the line now. "Why are you so kind to me?" she asks, her voice steady against the falling rain. A knowing smile touches BM Tae-ha's lips as he leans in. He admits he has his motives. He just wants to get to know her. She rejects him flatly. "No thanks." He finds her response amusing, pressing for a reason. She points out that he's young and seems popular, but he dismisses her logic. "You can't," she insists with weary finality. "So stop." Beneath the steady rhythm of the rain, They stop outside her building. Na-hwi thanks him, hoping to end the night there. A faint, knowing smile touches Taeha's lips as he leans under the umbrella. He asks if they will continue to be strangers. Her answer is immediate and firm. Yes. He accepts her rejection with an unsettling ease. All right then. As he turns and walks away, Na-hwi watches his retreating form, surprised by his simple obedience. The sight leaves her unsettled, wondering why someone like him would be interested in her. Inside her apartment, Na-hwi stops. Kang Min-cheol left his umbrella. A memory surfaces, old advice about a wife's duty to be wise and supportive. Feeling a flicker of that old responsibility, she picks up the umbrella, deciding to take it to him. Elsewhere, Taeha stands with a bouquet of red roses held behind his back, petals scattered on the floor. But when Hae-soo arrives at the company, she's too late. Min-cheol walks away under his own umbrella. A text from him blames her for the missed connection. Alone in the pouring rain, she stares down at her phone, defeated. Just as Na-hwi turns to leave, a familiar figure stops her cold. It's Kang Min-cheol, but he's not alone. He shares a single yellow umbrella with a young woman, Yeon-ari, their closeness a stark image in the downpour. Hae-soo stands before them, a silent storm in the rain. Flustered, Min-cheol introduces his ex-wife as just a close friend. After dismissing Ari, he turns his irritation on Hae-soo, but her gaze is fixed. With a quiet intensity that cuts through the noise, she asks who that woman was. Kang Min-cheol dismisses Na-hwi concern with a condescending air. He questions her expression, insisting Yeon-ari is just a coworker and scolds her for being embarrassing. As his sharp words fade into the pouring rain, a different voice suddenly echoes in her memory. The low, intense tone of Taeha. I would like to get to know you. Standing alone, Hae-soo realizes she threw away that offer without a second thought. The scene shifts, finding her exhausted at work, where she tells a drained coworker to go home, volunteering to finish everything herself. The bell on the flower shop door chimes, announcing a new arrival just as Na-hwi is alone. Her coworker had just left, gushing about a handsome customer nicknamed Roses. A tall figure in a dark coat steps inside, his presence immediately filling the quiet space. It's Taeha. His steel gray eyes find her instantly, an unnerving intensity in his gaze. The air crackles, growing warm and heavy. Hae-soo looks up, startled, her breath catching in her throat. Her quiet, professional question, "What would you like to order?" falters. 2 weeks pass. Na-hwi reflects on her old life with Kang Min-cheol, a time when his late nights and weekend work seemed like a normal part of their routine. Her thoughts then drift to Taeha. After she told him they could never be acquaintances, he vanished from her life. He simply promised to listen to her, an obedience that felt strangely unsettling. Clutching a bouquet, she tells herself his intense interest was just a fleeting curiosity. She feels it's for the best, dismissing the connection as nothing profound. Na-hwi stands in the bustling restaurant, lost in thought. She believes the wounds from deep connections leave scars that can never be erased. A brief, familiar worry for Kang Min-cheol surfaces before she's pulled back to reality by a customer. At a large table, a group of co-workers celebrate. An older man, flushed and loud, toasts to his recent divorce and freedom. His gaze drifts across the room and lands on Hae-soo as she bends to clear a table. He watches her intently, thinking to himself that a hard-working, naturally pretty woman would be perfect to start a new life with. The recently divorced man, his face flushed, calls out to Na-hwi, demanding she pour him a drink. He believes that as a regular customer and a business owner, she'll be thrilled by his advances. When a male coworker moves to help, the man dismisses him. "Not you," he says, his gaze locked on Hae-soo. "I want to drink the alcohol this lady pours for me." Hae-soo offers an uneasy smile, telling him he seems to have had a lot to drink. The man's expression hardens. "Hurry up," he commands, his voice turning aggressive. "You won't do it." As he begins to shout, the restaurant owner hurries over. The irate customer launches into a tirade, complaining about how his loyalty is repaid with disrespect. The owner immediately bows, apologizing profusely and offering free food to appease him, leaving Hae-soo standing by, silent and tense. The man's face twists with rage. He sneers, vowing to break Na-hwi's spirit for her defiance. When the owner tries to protect her, the customer explodes, threatening to turn the entire neighborhood against the restaurant. Ignoring her boss's frantic pleas, Hae-soo slowly sinks to the floor, her knees meeting the cold tile. Her head is bowed in complete submission. I was deeply wrong, she says, her voice devoid of emotion. Please forgive me. Later, in a quiet, empty office, a low voice cuts through the silence. Why did you do that? In the quiet break room, the restaurant owner tells Na-hwi she didn't have to go that far with the customer. She calmly explains that losing customers would be a big blow to the business, and she can't cause trouble for him after he's been so considerate. He lets out a heavy sigh, remarking on what a tough world it is, and offers her a ride. Hae-soo politely declines, revealing she just started another part-time job at a convenience store. Stunned, he asks when she possibly rests, wondering if her body is made of steel. The question hangs in the air, heavy and direct. Miss Hae-soo, do you have a lot of debt? The query sends a jolt through her, pulling up a painful memory. Masked men storm her apartment, their presence filling the space with dread as she begs them to stop. Amid the wreckage, Kang Min-cheol holds her close, his words a twisted promise. If she pays the debt, they will remarry and live happily. Back in the present, Na-hwi stands alone under the dim streetlights, whispering, yes. She walks on, admitting that she still lives dreaming of the future. The customer from the restaurant walks down a dark, neon-lit alley, a smug look on his face. He replays the moment Hae-soo knelt, finding it refreshing. He believes he needs to break her spirit so she'll fall for him later. From the shadows, BM Taeha watches. In a blur of motion, a leg strikes out, sending the man crashing to the pavement. He sputters in rage, demanding to know who did this. A gloved hand yanks his head back. Taeha leans in close, his voice dangerously soft. Well, he asks, who was the one who wanted to meet their end? BM Taeha leans over the fallen man, his voice dangerously low as he makes a strange demand. Strike me. Confused, the man hesitates, but Taeha just tells him to hurry. Enraged by the command, the man boasts about his fighting experience and throws a heavy punch. The blow connects squarely with Taeha's jaw, but Taeha doesn't even flinch. He stands perfectly still, a fresh mark on his cheek and a faint, unsettling smirk on his lips. Good job, he murmurs, calmly adjusting his collar. He towers over the bewildered man, asking, do you know who I am? BM Taeha's steel gray eyes hold no warmth. If you don't, he murmurs, his gloved hands clasped before him. This is your chance to find out. A heavy collision rings out in the alley, followed by silence. Later, under the harsh green light of a convenience store, Na-hwi finds a rare moment of quiet. She grabs a cold drink and sighs behind the counter, appreciating the solitude of the late hour. Just as she begins to relax, the bell on the door chimes, announcing a new arrival. She looks up, her voice tired. Welcome. Her words catch in her throat. It's him, the man with the rose. BM Taeha stands before her, his large frame cloaked in a dark hoodie. A wave of heat rushes over her as she questions the impossible coincidence of their meetings. She tells herself to stay calm, to treat him like any other customer. But when he slides a box of bandages onto the counter and pulls back his hood, her breath hitches. A fresh, raw cut marks his cheekbone, and his steel gray eyes lock onto hers, silent and intense. The air crackles with unspoken questions. Na-hwi's gaze fixes on BM Taeha as he stands before her counter. Her eyes widen slightly, noticing the dark bruises coloring his cheek and the cut on his lip. It's a real wound. A heavy sigh escapes her. They were supposed to be strangers, but seeing him like this stirs something inside her. She can't just stand by. This won't do, she says, her voice cutting through the quiet hum of the convenience store. She looks at him with clear concern. If you just put a bandage on that without any medicine, it will only get worse. Na-hwi immediately regrets her words, feeling it's ridiculous for her to suddenly intervene. But BM Taeha doesn't seem annoyed. Instead, a small, knowing smile plays on his cut lip. He leans forward, his large frame looming over the counter as he closes the distance between them. The air grows thick and warm. Then what should I do? He asks, his voice low. He gazes directly into her eyes, adding, please teach me. Na-hwi flinches, her heart stuttering. There it is again, that strangely polite tone that always sets her on edge. BM Taeha's voice drops as he asks if she's still young, his informal speech catching her off guard. Deciding to let it slide, Na-hwi sighs. Follow me, she instructs, leading him from behind the counter and out into the cool night air. They sit at a small plastic table under the store's glow. He presents the medicine, claiming he doesn't know how to use it. Her patience wears thin. Forget it, give it to me, she says, reaching out. Their fingers brush as she takes the packet. He leans in close, his gaze intense. "Bear with it," he murmurs, "even if it stings." Her touch is delicate as she gently dabs medicine on the cut marring Teha's face. The cool night air does little to quell the warmth radiating between them. "Does it hurt a lot?" she asks softly. He watches her, his gaze unwavering and intense. "No," he murmurs, his lips curving slightly. "It's a little ticklish." Annoyed by his vague answers, she asks what happened to his face. He looks away, his tone shifting. "It's really not my fault," he says quietly. "It's just because I'm struggling." The words strike a chord deep within Na-hwi, a bitter reminder of her own life. His words echo in her mind. She sees a reflection of her younger self in him, trapped and wandering in hardship. A sudden, sharp ache grips her heart as she looks into his dark eyes. Na-hwi admits that yes, she is weak-hearted, her fingers fidgeting on the table. She remembers his earlier question and finally relents. "Okay," she says softly, her gaze steady. "Let's get to know each other." A flicker of hope brightens his expression. He leans in and asks if he can address her familiarly. She immediately shuts him down, and he simply smiles. "Thank God." Teha's gaze lowers, his voice dropping as he finally reveals his reason. "Because I feel compassion for you." The confession hangs in the cool night air as they stand beneath the glow of the convenience store sign. The scene dissolves, replaced by the humid heat of a crowded restaurant. Laughter and loud chatter fill the room. At a table, Kwon Hyeon-jin complains bitterly to his co-workers. Nearby, a flushed Yeon-ari weakly protests as her boss pressures her to drink more. "I'm so intoxicated," she murmurs, but he ignores her, pouring another glass and insisting she take it. Ignoring Yeon-ari's flushed protests, her boss leans in, refilling her glass with a dismissive command to drink. A deep blush heats her cheeks as she obediently takes a sip, a nervous excitement fluttering inside her despite the pressure. The noisy chatter of the restaurant continues as a co-worker turns his attention to Kwon Hyeon-jin. He asks an interesting question, not what Hyeon-jin's ideal type is, but what kind of person he dislikes. Kwon Hyeon-jin lifts his own glass, a smug look in his eyes as he pauses to think. Kwon Hyeon-jin scoffs and lists the traits he dislikes. A woman who is sullen, emotionless, and acts older than she is. His co-workers burst into laughter, teasing him for having such specific, married man complaints. He dismisses their jokes with a smirk and clarifies his real preference. "No way," he states firmly, his gaze steady. "I like cute, well-dressed, young women." The words hang in the warm, noisy air. Across the table, a deep blush spreads over Yeon-ari's cheeks as a hopeful, excited warmth rises in her chest. Kwon Hyeon-jin's cruel words echo in Na-hwi's mind as she works behind the brightly lit convenience store counter. Her thoughts are broken by a tall man in a dark hoodie. He asks for her name, his voice low. Teha. He introduces himself. Her phone immediately displays his name alongside a strange message. Later, she sits, staring at the screen, but it's a different name she's waiting for. Kwon Hyeon-jin still hasn't answered. Across town, in a dim alley, Kwon Hyeon-jin holds Yeon-ari close, his arm wrapped tightly around her. He leans in, his voice a low whisper as he asks the way to her house. A deep blush warms her face as she leans into his touch, her breathless yes hanging in the cool night air. Under the warm glow of a street lamp, Yeon-ari closes the distance between them. "It's really strange," she whispers, her gaze full of adoration as she tells him he's different from other men. She presses herself against Kwon Hyeon-jin's chest, her cheeks flushing as she confesses her growing feelings. His mind, however, churns with irritation. A faint smirk touches his lips as he places a hand on her shoulder, his voice low. "Have just one more drink with me," he suggests, already turning to lead her deeper into the night. Na-hwi sits alone in the quiet convenience store, a solitary figure under the sterile lights. An ominous feeling suddenly washes over her, thick and suffocating like the humidity on a summer night. The memory of Kwon Hyeon-jin clings to her like sticky tar on melted asphalt, an unbearable density. In her mind, the room grows hot as their past connection deepens, not with affection, but with a crushing weight. It's a bitter reminder that despite a lifetime of misfortune, there is always a deeper pit waiting. The memory fades. Her footsteps are the only sound in the cold, dim alley. Na-hwi pushes open her door, a wave of exhaustion washing over her. She just needs to rest before work. But the home is still and empty. Kwon Hyeon-jin isn't there. Across town, a different kind of warmth envelopes him. Sunlight traces the lines of his body in a strange bed. When he finally answers her call outside a guest house, his voice is sharp. He dismisses her worry as nagging, spinning a quick tale about a company dinner that ran late. Kang Min-cheol's voice cuts through the phone, sharp and dismissive. "Okay, I need to go." The line goes dead. Na-hwi sits alone in the dim room, a familiar, cold anxiety washing over her. A memory surfaces of a brighter time when she walked by his side. Even then, stunned by his indifference, she had assured herself it was nothing. A foolish hope. She didn't realize then that her heart was already starting to wither. In the present, surrounded by shadows, she understands the depth of her sorrow. Elsewhere, BM Taeha reclines in luxury, the epitome of dark elegance. He waits, a predator at ease. A voice cuts through the quiet of the schoolyard, stopping a student named Jihu in his tracks. He turns to find a young BM Taeha, a bandage on his cheek, greeting him with a simple hi. Jihu's heart thumps with surprise. Taeha doesn't remember names. Yet, the cool greeting feels deliberate and unsettlingly familiar. Taeha calmly reminds him they were once classmates, but a memory flashes in Jihu's mind of their classroom. Two boys living in different worlds, separated by an unbridgeable social distance. The sudden, focused attention feels strangely intense. Jihu's mind races with suspicion. BM Taeha has a favor to ask, and the question is strangely intimate. "What's your foot size?" After Jihu nervously answers, Taeha makes his bizarre proposition. "Let's swap shoes." The absurdity floors Jihu. Taeha's designer sneakers are a world apart from his own worn-out pair. He stammers, wondering if this is some new form of intimidation. Taeha's calm smile doesn't waver as he presses the point. Overwhelmed by the quiet intensity, Jihu feels he has no choice but to agree. As Jihu walks away in his expensive new sneakers, his mind reels. The girls were right. Taeha seems like a decent guy, but he feels strangely distant, impossible to read. Later, Taeha sits alone on a bench, now wearing the worn-out shoes. He's lost in his music until a soft touch breaks his solitude. A young Na-hwi gently pulls an earbud from his ear, leaning close. "What are you listening to?" she asks. Her expression shifts from curiosity to utter confusion as an old-fashioned trot song fills the air between them. An old-fashioned trot song plays from the earbud, its quirky lyrics filling the air between them. BM Taeha holds a faint smile, asking if it's a good song. Na-hwi stares at him, baffled by his strange taste. Her eyes drift down and fix on his feet. "What's wrong with your shoes?" she asks, pointing out that the worn-out sneakers don't look like they belong to him. Unfazed, Taeha's smile widens slightly. "They're pretty, right?" he asks. His calm response leaves her speechless, her mind screaming that he's utterly strange. At the flower shop, an apology from Haesu's co-worker hangs in the air. She explains that BM Taeha now buys his flowers exclusively from her, suggesting his interest lies elsewhere and leaving Haesu in quiet confusion. The scene cuts to a memory of a younger Taeha, stoically enduring taunts about a girl who left him. His gaze then falls upon a young Haesu. Later, seated under a patio umbrella, her gentle touch sends a spark through him. "Okay," he agrees softly. "Let's get to know each other," silently deciding she never needs to know about the shadows he carries. Inside the flower shop, a co-worker gushes about a handsome customer they call Rose. Just then, a bell chimes over the door. BM Taeha enters, his tall frame filling the doorway. A fresh bandage is stark against his cheek, and a small cut marks his lip. Ignoring the shocked gasps from the other employees, he walks directly to Na-hwi's counter. The air around them feels heavy and warm as he stands impossibly close. "I'm here to buy flowers," he states, his gaze unwavering. Flustered, she asks what he would like. A faint smile plays on his lips. "You know what I'm going to order." Na-hwi's heart thumps as she turns away, asking him to wait. Her hands tremble slightly while gathering a bouquet of deep red roses. Leaning over the counter, BM Taeha playfully asks if there's a discount for an acquaintance. Her co-worker watches in disbelief as Haesu flatly shuts him down. The playful glint in his eyes fades, replaced by an intense focus. "What are you doing later?" he asks, his voice low and serious. Exasperated, Haesu sighs, questioning if he truly wants her to scold him. A faint, satisfied smile touches his lips. His words, slow and low, feel like a single splash of color in her colorless world. Na-hwi feels a strange shame for her prejudice against him. A memory surfaces of her making bouquets for other people, realizing she never once considered giving them to herself. "You're right," she admits, a newfound warmth spreading through her chest. She thanks him for walking with her. Tae-ha leans down, his presence enveloping her. The air grows heavy as he moves closer, his intense gaze fixed on her. "Then let's see each other often in the future," Tae-ha suggests, his voice a low murmur. A faint smile touches his lips as he holds out a bouquet of deep red roses, the city lights glowing warmly behind him. Meanwhile, at an office, Yun-ari looks around anxiously, wondering where Kang Min-cheol disappeared to. A colleague asks if things are going well with him, and Ari can only manage a small, hesitant sound. Outside, Kang Min-cheol smokes with a coworker who offers cynical advice. He claims it's best to secure a woman when she's young and naive, before she becomes materialistic. He makes a crude remark about how a woman will yield once she opens up, asking if Min-cheol has already gotten there. Kang Min-cheol just smirks, taking a slow drag from his cigarette in silent confirmation. Kang Min-cheol's coworker needles him about his stagnant career, pointing out that he's still just an assistant manager. Visibly annoyed, Min-cheol flicks his cigarette into a bin, curtly dismissing the topic. As he walks away, the coworker snaps, telling him to stop his arrogant smirking. "It's not fun for anyone to listen to you," he says, his voice laced with irritation. Min-cheol simply leaves him fuming. Once inside, he scoffs to himself, amused that he's being lectured by a man whose life experience comes from late-night establishments. Yun-ari presses herself against Kang Min-cheol, her cheeks flushed as she sinks into his embrace. Her thoughts drift to an earlier, more intimate moment they shared. She remembers her initial hesitation, the worry that their connection was deepening too quickly. She had heard that some men can lose interest after such closeness, a fear that briefly clouded her mind. But holding him now, that doubt melts away. She tells herself that he is different, that he is a truly special man. A powerful realization washes over her. She loves him, and she will never let him go. A possessive warmth fills Yun-ari. She vows Kang Min-cheol is hers forever. The past flickers to life. A memory of Na-hwi carefully preparing her husband's favorite meal, their shared laughter filling a restaurant. Now, that same pot sits cold in her silent, empty room. Her phone buzzes, a simple, "Good luck today" from Tae-ha. She sees him as just a kid, innocent and romantic. But a darker image of him standing under a hotel's neon glow hints at something more. Suddenly, a service window slides open. Kang Min-cheol is there. "Welcome," Hae-soo says, her voice drained. Kang Min-cheol stumbles to the counter, slurring a demand for a room and female company. He angrily insists he paid after sliding over his license by mistake. Just as his voice rises, Tae-ha's imposing figure appears behind him. Tae-ha ignores the scene, placing a sleek black card before Na-hwi. He calmly asks for all the remaining rooms. Stunned into silence, Hae-soo stares at the card, unable to process the request. A moment later, Tae-ha stands outside under a neon glow, his phone illuminating his face as a message arrives. From the shadows of an alley, Tae-ha watches Kang Min-cheol stumble away from the motel, defeated. After a moment, Tae-ha turns his back, walking off with a cool indifference. Inside, Hae-soo's boss is baffled, wondering aloud how they could be fully booked on such a slow night. She tells a relieved Na-hwi to go home early. Walking up the dark steps toward her apartment, Hae-soo feels a rare sense of luck. The simple promise of rest makes the empty streets feel unexpectedly cozy and warm, a quiet comfort in the night. Tae-ha waits for Na-hwi in the warm glow of the setting sun, a faint smile playing on his lips. As she steps outside, she immediately apologizes, explaining she must rush to another job and has no time for him. "I know," he says, his voice is steady, low hum that vibrates through the quiet street. Hae-soo sighs that all adults are busy. His gaze softens as he looks away. "Then I don't want to be an adult," he murmurs. The unexpected vulnerability in his words stops her, igniting a strange warmth that spreads through her chest. They walk side by side into the warm glow of the setting sun. Na-hwi finds herself comparing Tae-ha's imposing frame to her ex-husband's. He notices her stare and comments on her keen eye for men's heights. She explains it's just a lingering habit from 13 years with Kang Min-cheol, a time when she handled everything for him. A sudden intensity flickers in Tae-ha's eyes, his expression darkening. "I'm jealous," he states flatly. Hae-soo, taken aback, says he has no reason to be. A small, almost imperceptible smile plays on his lips. The city lights blur into a warm haze as they walk side by side. Na-hwi-soo's gaze drifts down to Taeha's feet, and she notices for the first time just how worn his sneakers are. A wave of practicality washes over her. She suggests he should spend his money on shoes instead of the flowers he brings her every single day, asking how he can possibly afford it. His expression is unreadable in the shifting light. "Well," he begins, his voice flat, "there's no law that says you can't buy flowers if you're poor." The words land with a strange, chilling weight, a quiet moment she fails to recognize as a harbinger of the misery to come. In the quiet of her kitchen, Na-hwi-soo's phone buzzes with a message from Taeha, telling her to dress warmly. A few minutes later, another arrives, advising her not to work too hard. She pauses, reading his words. A strange warmth blooms in her chest. His simple concern feels like a fresh, youthful scent seeping into her tired life. Meanwhile, surrounded by the flashing purple lights of a lively venue, Taeha stares at his own screen. A faint smirk touches his lips. His friend asks why he's suddenly smiling. "She ignored my call," Taeha says, his amusement clear. In a memory, Na-hwi-soo stands over a steaming pot in the kitchen. Suddenly, Kwon Hyeon-jin wraps his arms around her from behind, pulling her flush against his body. He murmurs that he wants a taste of the seaweed soup. "It's hot, so be careful," she cautions softly. Leaning closer, he insists she blow on it and feed it to him. After tasting the spoonful she offers, he nods. "It's good," he declares, his grip tightening possessively. Whose wife is a better cook anyway? In a past memory, Kwon Hyeon-jin rationalizes his behavior. He insists it wasn't guilt over another woman that made him act strangely. He just felt a little sad. He watches Na-hwi-soo's back as she cooks, convinced that no matter what he does, her life will always be the same. Holding her from behind, he asks if something happened. "No," she replies softly. She admits she hasn't bought the perfume he gave her money for, hesitant to spend it when he works so hard. "It's okay," he says, his expression unreadable. "You can buy it." As expected, he thinks. Kind, boring, and helpless. The memory shifts. Kwon Hyeon-jin's grip tightens around Na-hwi-soo, his hands invading her personal space under her shirt. "Min-cheol," she asks, her voice trembling. He ignores her plea, telling her to just stay still as he presses closer. The air grows heavy and warm. He whispers his desire against her skin, asking for just one moment together. Na-hwi-soo weakly protests, saying she can't be late for work, but her words are lost. He finds her flustered state amusing, watching the color rise in her cheeks as he holds her captive in his embrace. Kwon Hyeon-jin finally relents, his hand sliding away as he murmurs, "Okay, okay." Na-hwi-soo timidly asks if he's mad. With a dismissive wave, he denies it and tells her to go to work. Flushed from the encounter, she fans her shirt to cool down. In his mind, she is a pretty but uninteresting flower he picked carelessly, one that no longer knows how to show its thorns. The memory fades. Now, Kwon Hyeon-jin lies on the floor, smiling at his phone. He's texting Yunari, who asks if he misses her. Of course, he types back. In a sun-drenched memory, Na-hwi-soo wanders through a clothing store. Her eyes widen in quiet shock as she peeks at a price tag. Suddenly, Kwon Hyeon-jin is beside her. He asks what has her attention, and she quickly dismisses it as nothing. Her gaze then lingers on a designer handbag displayed in a glass case. "Do you like that?" he asks. She immediately denies it, but he casually notes it's a luxury bag worth millions. The immense sum stuns her into silence. Decisively, he says, "Let's go," and turns to leave. The memory sours Kwon Hyeon-jin's mood. He finds himself suddenly annoyed, scoffing at the thought that Na-hwi-soo knows nothing about luxury goods. Why would he even bother going with her? As he sits, his phone lights up with a message from Yunari asking to meet later. Elsewhere, under the cold, green glow of city lights, Taeha stands with an associate. He is shown a series of photographs, a car at night, then one of Na-hwi-soo in an embrace with another man. Taeha's expression is unreadable. He slowly raises a lighter, and a flame sparks to life, its warm glow illuminating his cold, resolute face. The photograph curls and blackens in the flame, the image of another man beside Na-hwi-soo turning to ash that drifts away into the night. Miles away, Hae-soo fights to keep her eyes open at her desk, the weight of her next shift pressing down on her. Her phone screen glows, a message from Taeha. He wants to see her. A flicker of worry over his recent injury makes her agree to a quick meeting. She finds him waiting under the cold, green city lights. He leans against a wall, an imposing shadow in the dark. Hae-soo stops short, the air between them growing heavy. Na-hwi observes a change in Tae-ha. His aura feels heavier, more mature. He offers to walk her to the convenience store, unsettling her with his knowledge of her plans. He calls the narrow alley dangerous. While she insists she's an adult and isn't afraid, he leans in close, the air between them suddenly warm. "I'm scared," he murmurs, his voice a low hum. Her breath catches at his proximity. He is so large he feels like a walking barrier. A soft, pleased laugh escapes his lips, filling the charged silence. "Then shall I walk behind you?" Taeha's voice is a low rumble right by her ear. He shifts closer, his body heat a solid wall against her back. "Like this," he murmurs, his presence all-consuming. Na-hwi feels a shiver run down her spine, her breath catching in her throat. He tells her it's fine, to just follow along quietly. With a tiny, resigned yes, she starts to walk. His large hand settles on her shoulder, a possessive weight guiding her forward as his shadow swallows hers in the dim alley light. Taeha leans in, his voice a low murmur as he points to a mark on Na-hwi's neck. He playfully suggests a mosquito bit her. Confused, she touches the spot, reasoning that it's winter and there's no itch. Suddenly, a hazy, heated memory of a desperate moment with Kwon Hyeon-jin flashes through her mind. A deep blush spreads across her cheeks. Flustered, she quickly agrees with Taeha, claiming it must have been a bug. His gaze darkens, his steel-gray eyes fixed on her with an unnerving intensity. "I knew it," he says softly. Taeha's warmth envelopes Na-hwi as he steps closer, his large hand gently cradling the back of her neck. "I'll put a band-aid on it," he murmurs. She looks away, a wave of relief washing over her as she thinks he must be naive to her lie. His touch is surprisingly careful as he applies the small bandage, covering the mark. A faint, knowing smile plays on his lips. "I was hurt yesterday," he says, his voice a low, intimate vibration, reminding her that he gets sad when she doesn't reply. His words about feeling sad echo in her mind. A painful memory flickers to the surface, the ache of sending messages into silence, waiting for a reply that never came. For a moment, she feels she understands his loneliness, a feeling she knows all too well. Na-hwi looks up at Taeha, her gaze uncertain as she apologizes softly. "I didn't know what to reply," she admits, explaining that this kind of simple contact is unfamiliar. He looms over her, his expression unreadable as he asks, "As expected, it's not fun, right?" Na-hwi recalls the difficulty of being friends with an older woman, a relationship she clung to just to stay sane. As she stands lost in that memory, Taeha's hand gently adjusts the collar of her coat. "No need to apologize," he says, his voice low. He explains that he contacted her simply because he wanted to, dismissing his earlier sadness as a childish tantrum. He looks down at her, his hand resting softly on her shoulder. "So don't be sorry," he murmurs. "Na-hwi, do as you wish." His parting words linger in her mind all day, sparking a question she hasn't dared to ask herself. As her shift ends, a simple clarity cuts through the haze. Na-hwi asks her boss if she can buy a rose. Though her boss offers it for free, she insists on paying. "Because it's a gift for myself," she says with quiet determination. In her stark apartment, she places the single red bloom in a glass. A faint warmth spreads through her chest as she captures a picture, thinking how beautiful it is. Na-hwi stares at the picture of the rose, her thumb hovering over the send button. She wonders if it's too trivial, but a moment later, she sends it anyway. Elsewhere, Kwon Hyeon-jin walks up the stairs to his apartment, speaking into his phone. He tells the person on the other end he's just stopping home to change for their date, then smoothly suggests going to Ari's place instead. He hangs up and steps inside, freezing when he sees Hae-soo. "What are you doing here?" he demands. He brushes past her, explaining he's working late and needs fresh clothes. "Where do you usually keep my underwear?" he asks, as if he still belongs there. Exhausted, Hae-soo simply says she'll find them. Kwon Hyeon-jin's gaze falls on the single red rose. He questions her about it, and Na-hwi explains she just thought it would be pretty. His mind races with disdain, labeling her as dull and boring, a symbol of his past misery. He was just on his way to meet another woman for the night. Yet, seeing her unremarkable back after she brought home a single flower sparks an unexpected warmth inside him. The feeling makes his head spin. In one sudden movement, he closes the distance, overwhelming her and pulling her into a forceful, demanding connection. His weight presses down on Na-hwi, her breath catching in her throat. Kang Min-cheol leans in close, his voice a low whisper as he taunts her, asking if she grew lonely without him. Her faint pleas to wait are lost as he pushes forward, his mind made up. He curses her name under his breath, callously dismissing any consequences of their connection. But then, just as suddenly as he began, he stops. With a frustrated sigh, he pulls away, muttering to forget it. Elsewhere, a phone screen lights up, displaying her picture of the single rose. BM Tae-ha stands on a quiet street corner, a small, knowing smile playing on his lips. Two women spot him, their excited whispers cutting through the night air. They can't believe he would be in such a neighborhood, brushing off their encounter as a simple coincidence. But for him, there's no such thing. A chilling thought surfaces. Behind every plausible coincidence are 100 inevitabilities. Discarded bouquets of roses, a meticulously arranged shoe rack, and scattered photos of her. Each is a deliberate step, a thread carefully woven to orchestrate this one single, seemingly random moment. Kang Min-cheol stands alone, convinced the finale is drawing near, wondering how this story will finally end. But BM Tae-ha already knows. For him, there are no coincidences in this world. The conclusion was sealed from the very first page. In the quiet solitude of her home, Na-hwi-su's hands still as she examines a white shirt. Her gaze fixes upon a faint, damning red stain near the collar. A cold, silent understanding dawns in her tired eyes. It's an obvious, heart-wrenching discovery in a story sure to end in tears. Yoon-ari greets Kang Min-cheol outside his car, her smile bright under the streetlights as she asks what they should have for dinner. Moments later, the atmosphere shifts inside the vehicle's dark interior. She is sitting in his lap, her legs angled with his as her high heels lay discarded on the floor. With a flustered breath, she asks if they are really doing this right here. She admits her embarrassment, her hands fumbling as she tries to navigate the moment. The air grows heavy, her words turning to soft sighs as their connection deepens. The air inside the car grows heavy, thick with heat and unspoken tension. Kang Min-cheol leans over Yoon-ari, his skin damp as he breathes that he didn't come prepared for this moment. She looks up at him, her own breath catching in her throat, and dismisses his concern. She reassures him that there is nothing to worry about, her voice a soft whisper giving him permission to proceed. A sharp gasp escapes her as their connection deepens, and he murmurs for her to relax as the world outside the car windows melts away. The air inside the car is thick with heat as Kang Min-cheol and Yoon-ari are lost in a passionate embrace, their bodies intertwined. Soft sighs fill the small space, her thoughts racing with the intensity of the moment. The scene cuts sharply. In a brightly lit kitchen, Na-hwi-su stands listlessly, her shoulders slumped with fatigue. A memory flashes through her mind, the undeniable scent of another woman on his clothes. As she reaches for a glass, her hand trembles, and it slips from her grasp, shattering violently on the floor. A worried coworker asks if she's okay, but Hye-su simply shakes her head, murmuring, "I'm fine. I'll clean it up." In her memory, Na-hwi-su tries to believe it was an innocent accident. She pictures Kang Min-cheol simply bumping into a coworker, a trivial matter with an easy explanation. But the denial twists into a dark, suffocating anxiety, and his remembered voice echoes, telling her not to be so anxious. Her heart knew the truth first, though. She remembers muffling her sobs, forcing down the pain. Now, as she sweeps the last shard of broken glass into a dustpan, a single tear escapes, a small release for all the sorrow she still holds inside. Na-hwi-su quietly bags items at the convenience store, her expression hollow. Through the phone, a friend's voice crackles with fury, shouting that she knew from the start he was a cheater. Her friend's rage is a stark contrast to Hye-su's own weary resignation. She lets out a quiet sigh. Work used to be a distraction, a way to forget the pain. But today, the memories keep returning, ruining everything. A fleeting image of a past hope flashes in her mind. Now, whenever life feels overwhelming, she no longer knows how to muster the strength to believe in a better tomorrow. A motorcycle cuts through the night, its tires squealing on the pavement. In the eerie glow of the streetlights, BM Tae-ha sits astride the powerful machine, his figure cloaked in shadow. His gaze is fixed on the convenience store where Na-hwi-su stands alone, a solitary figure behind the counter. He removes his helmet, his thoughts drifting. He finds it amazing how the more you try to let something go, the more it clings to you. It haunts you like a ghost, returning again and again to bring you ruin. The bell above the door chimes, and an imposing figure in a motorcycle helmet enters. Tae-ha walks directly to the counter where Na-hwi stands, his tall frame casting a shadow over her. He doesn't pick up any items, simply staring at her through his dark visor. Hae-soo looks up, confused by his silence. Suddenly, he holds out his phone. A single message glows on the screen. "Can I call you Nuna?" Her eyes widen in disbelief. As she processes the words, he slowly lifts his visor, revealing piercing steel-gray eyes that seem to see right through her. A small smirk plays on Tae-ha's lips. "Do you want to be scolded?" he asks teasingly. Na-hwi, weary but curious, questions his helmet. He vaguely explains he just came from work, something like deliveries. A flicker of genuine concern crosses her face as she tells him to be careful, as that kind of job is dangerous. He leans closer, the space between them shrinking. "Are you worried?" he asks softly. When she playfully tells him to stand in a corner for joking, he actually does it, a wide grin spreading across his face as he removes his helmet. "Why are you here?" she asks, breaking the strange tension. "I'm hungry," he admits. She sighs, immediately concerned that his boss won't let him eat. Tae-ha gently rests his head against Na-hwi's, a contented smile gracing his lips. The quiet moment feels warm, a stark contrast to the cold night outside. He recalls watching from the shadows as Kang Min-cheol argued with Yoon-ari in a desolate parking lot, a grim resolve settling in his eyes. Now, as Hae-soo holds out instant noodles for him, a wave of pity washes over her. She believes he must be struggling, unable to rest from his demanding job. To her, he's just a big kid who can't be left to go hungry. Na-hwi sighs, deciding to buy him a meal is just a good deed, and tells him to pick two since he eats a lot. Tae-ha leans in, his warmth pressing against her in the narrow aisle. He dismisses her offer, a confident smirk playing on his lips. Instead, he says, his voice a low rumble. His gloved hand lands firmly on the shelf right next to her head, trapping her. The sudden proximity steals her breath. He towers over her, demanding she choose the most delicious one for him. Stunned into silence, Hae-soo stares up. In the narrow aisle, Tae-ha leans over Na-hwi, his presence a sudden warmth behind her. As he reaches for a product, her eyes catch the dark ink peeking out from under his glove. "What is that on your wrist?" she asks, her voice barely a whisper. He pulls back, his expression unreadable. His mind races, wondering if she hates the ink. Does he look like a delinquent to her? He asks if she dislikes it. Instead of answering, Hae-soo reaches out, her fingers gently pressing against his gloved hand. "Then I will erase it," he offers immediately, his voice a low, earnest plea. "Tell me." Her fingers trail away from his wrist, a soft touch against his side. Na-hwi looks up at him, her gaze filled with a new concern. "Why do you have a mark like this?" she asks softly. For a moment, a memory of a deep, painful event flashes in Tae-ha's mind. Her voice trembles as she continues, trying to sound calm. "Did you cause this yourself? Was the burden too heavy?" Her eyes glisten, seeming as though they might tear up at any moment. He watches her, a faint smirk playing on his lips. He enjoys this expression, this raw vulnerability. He wonders, just for a second, if he should tease her a bit more. The dark impulse to push her, to see that vulnerable expression deepen, flashes through Tae-ha's mind. But he immediately dismisses it. He cares for her too much to play such a game. Instead, his gloved fingers gently tap her hand, breaking the heavy silence. "It was an accident," he says softly, his voice a low reassurance. "It is not what you are thinking, so do not worry." Na-hwi does not fully believe him, but she lets it go for now. He leads her down the aisle, playfully insisting she get a more expensive meal. As Tae-ha sits at the counter, a faint smile playing on his lips, Na-hwi watches him from a distance. Her mind feels foggy. The strange young man has drained her energy, yet she finds she does not dislike the feeling. His peculiar presence is a welcome distraction from the gloom left by Min-cheol. He is a boy covered in marks of the past, with odd tastes and unsettling behavior. Truly, Tae-ha is an enigma. Elsewhere, in a room washed in warm light, Do Hee-ji lies beside Kang Min-cheol. Her hand rests gently over his heart as she looks at him, her voice a soft whisper. "I just want to marry you, Appa." He offers a quiet, non-committal hum in response. In the warm glow of the bedroom, Do Hee-ji presses her case, explaining that she never planned on marrying early until she met him. Kang Min-cheol tries to dismiss her, pointing out that she is only 25. Undeterred, she insists it is the perfect age. As his hand runs through her soft hair, Mincheol's thoughts drift. He admits to himself this was only meant to be for fun, but her innocence and apparent wealth have made things more serious. A wave of irritation passes over him. Unlike Na-hwi, Do-hee-ji always smells of cosmetics and perfume. Lying in the warm glow of the bedroom, Do-hee-ji asks Kang Mincheol about his ideal married life. His mind drifts back to a simple, happy memory with Na-hwi and the family they almost had, a life he once craved. He admits to Hee-ji that he wants to be a father. He recalls the harsh reality of their past, how Haesu's health and their finances made such a dream a luxury. He explains he has since given up on the idea. Hearing this, Do-hee-ji simply nestles closer, her warmth a quiet comfort against him. In the warm, hazy light of the bedroom, Do-hee-ji offers quiet reassurance to Kang Mincheol. She tells him not to give up, her voice a soft promise that his dream of a family will come true. The scene shifts abruptly to the cold, sprawling city at night. A lone figure stands on the desolate roof of a skyscraper, a silhouette against the endless lights. Later, in the green glow of a car's interior, the man, a bandage now visible on his cheek, extends his arm. He asks the man opposite him what the script on his forearm looks like. The other man peers at it, replying that it looks like a Buddhist proverb. A knowing smile plays on Taeha's lips as he smoothly pulls a black glove over his hand. He reflects on Na-hwi, wondering how she could see the old memories hidden beneath new ink. She is impressive, pushing him to his very limit without any effort. He recalls his desire to wait, to let her unhappy history conclude on its own. But as he stands alone against the glittering city lights, he realizes his patience has run out. It seems that plan will no longer work after all. Taeha runs his gloved hand over the script on his forearm. The source of all suffering, he thinks, is attachment. He takes a deep breath, sensing the onset of it, a feeling he can no longer go against. His own attachment has taken root, and looking out over the vast city, he believes only suffering remains. Elsewhere, Na-hwi walks alone under the eerie green glow of streetlights, the soft sound of her footsteps breaking the silence. She suddenly stops and looks up, her eyes widening in quiet surprise at something she sees. A stranger on the street gasps and scurries away into the shadows, leaving Na-hwi standing alone in the eerie green glow. She pulls her coat tighter, completely baffled by his sudden, fearful retreat. The bizarre encounter triggers a cascade of unwanted memories. She recalls the quiet nights, assuming Kang Mincheol's exhaustion was from work, making excuses for his distance. Then she remembers the phone call that burned her world down. The image of herself sitting by his bed, a silent witness to his secret betrayal, resurfaces, the air still thick with unspoken heartbreak. A memory of crushing doubt surfaces for Na-hwi. She sees it clearly. Kang Mincheol walking in the rain with a beautiful young woman, sparking a burning unease within her. Later, as he sleeps, his phone rings. Questions flood her mind about their real relationship, about the late-night calls. But she remains silent, paralyzed by the fear of an answer she cannot handle. While she hesitates, the call ends. She tries to dismiss it as a work matter, but the heavy weight of suspicion settles in her heart, impossible to ignore. At the flower shop, a young co-worker excitedly shows Na-hwi a wedding photo on her phone. "Isn't she pretty?" she asks, dreaming of her own special day. She turns to Hae-soo, her eyes bright with innocent curiosity, asking about her wedding dress and honeymoon. "Your husband must have been thrilled," she adds with a smile. The cheerful words fade into a stark, cold memory. A hand rests on a submitted form at a government office. It is over. Outside, Kang Mincheol notes how quickly it was done, suggesting they get a meal, but Hae-soo just looks away, refusing. In a memory bathed in warm light, Kang Mincheol wraps his arms around Na-hwi from behind. He whispers about saving money, then immediately pleads with her to go for a meal, calling her a mood killer for hesitating. Her resistance melts. As they stand close, he paints a beautiful future for them, a proper wedding, a stunning dress, and a huge diamond ring. He plans their romantic getaway, first to Hawaii, then to Hong Kong. Heat rises in Hae-soo's cheeks as she listens, and he teases her gently, noting how red her face is. In a sun-drenched memory, Na-hwi recalls the feeling of complete trust. Looking at Kang Mincheol, she thinks that their affection is all that matters. "All we need is for our hearts to remain unchanged," she says softly, a blissful smile on her face. "So, do not stray too far away." For her, his presence was more radiant than any diamond they could not afford. But those promises were never fulfilled. The warm memory shatters, replaced by a cold, modern reality. She sends a message to BM Taeha. It is snowing tonight. Are you busy? It remains unread. Doubt creeps in. I thought we had gotten a bit closer, but a storm brews inside BM Taeha's mind. He remembers Na-hwie's softness towards her ex-husband, a sharp contrast to his own unread message. A possessive heat coils in his gut. What should I do about this? He wonders, his gaze lost in the dark city. He regrets not having been more forceful during a past confrontation. As he prepares to light what he holds between his lips, a man with tied-back hair approaches. I will light it for you, he offers with a knowing smile. Taeha simply pulls the object from his mouth, a lollipop. I do not need a lighter. The stranger just laughs. The stranger apologizes, explaining his desire to spark the flame was a silly cinematic fantasy. Unimpressed, BM Taeha holds the lollipop out. Then light it for me. He watches the man falter before his gaze turns cold. Have you ever made someone vanish permanently? The question hangs heavy in the air. His mind flashes to Na-hwie's unread message, thinking there might be a need to make someone disappear soon. The pale stranger stammers he has never done this. Taeha calmly takes the lighter from his hand. Relax, he says softly. I am joking. The stranger, trembling, asks if the joke was real. I do not know, BM Taeha replies with chilling flatness before walking away. The man watches him go, unnerved by a frightening family resemblance. He thinks that lineage does not lie. Elsewhere, Na-hwie sits in a restaurant, listening to her friend's heartbroken story. Her partner bought new clothes and worked weekends, all for another woman at his office. Do not shed tears for such a person, the friend insists, trying to comfort Hae-soo, whose own sorrow hangs heavy in her downcast eyes. At work, Na-hwie struggles to focus. Memories of Kang Min-cheol's secret betrayal resurface, the frequent late nights, the growing distance, the unshakable feeling that something was wrong. The horrifying thought returns. If he was seeing someone else, then what was she? The swelling anxiety turns into a tangible weight on her chest, making it hard to breathe. Her boss finds her doubled over in distress. Miss Hae-soo? He calls out. She straightens up, her voice trembling as she apologizes. I am not feeling too well, she explains, asking if she can leave early. He agrees, noting her pale face. Na-hwie quickly thanks her boss and rushes out into the night. Her footsteps echo on the pavement as a memory floods her senses, a warmth spreading through her chest. It is BM Taeha's slow, steady voice, an anchor in her mind, telling her to do what she wants. That voice alone is what propels her, a woman who always hesitated, all the way to Kang Min-cheol's company. She stands uncertainly before the door when a man approaches, asking what brings an outsider here for work. The man's question hangs in the charged air, and Na-hwie's heart thumps a nervous rhythm against her ribs. She explains she is here for an employee. When he presses for a name, Kang Min-cheol feels heavy on her tongue. A flush of heat creeps up her neck as the man probes into their relationship. Clasping her bag strap until her knuckles are white, she whispers a fragile lie, claiming to be a family member. Though he looks unconvinced, he reluctantly steps aside, calling out that a visitor has arrived from Mr. Min-cheol. Voices echo in Na-hwie's mind as she hurries through the evening city streets. Friends once warned her that such secrets always come to light and that she needed to get evidence. Though a part of her resolved to do it, she admits the real reason she came. It was not to catch him, but to prove her own crippling anxiety wrong. Night after night, her pillow is soaked from terrible dreams. She just wanted confirmation that he could never be that kind of person, that even if their relationship was not the same, some affection still remained. Na-hwie stands timidly at the entrance to Kang Min-cheol's office, her arrival announced to the room. A ripple of curiosity spreads among the co-workers. Across the office, Min-cheol looks up, his expression frozen as he sees her. Nearby, Do-hee-ji learns the visitor claims to be family. With perfect composure, she rises and tells Min-cheol she will step out. As he walks past her chair, his hand drops to find hers in a hidden gesture. His fingers tighten in a firm, possessive grip, a silent confirmation of the truth Hae-soo came to deny. Kang Min-cheol leads Na-hwie outside, his voice a low command to follow. He pulls her into a secluded alley, the sudden movement causing her to cry out as his grip tightens on her arm. He pins her against the wall, his body heat radiating in the cool night. He demands to know why she embarrassed him at his workplace. Na-hwie flinches when he orders her to speak clearly. Trembling, she whispers that he is scaring her. A cold, humorless sound escapes him. He leans in closer, his face inches from hers. "You're scared of me?" he asks. Kang Min-cheol's voice is low, his words a harsh accusation that she is clinging to the past. For Na-hwi, the reaction is involuntary, a trembling body and a heart that throbs with a familiar, learned fear. Pinned against the cool brick, she feels the heat radiating from him as he looms closer, demanding to know why she came. Her lips are frozen, unable to form an answer. Then, her voice finally emerges, a fragile whisper. She saw cosmetic stains on his clothes, she says, a shade that is not hers. Her gaze locks with his, questioning who it belongs to. A cruel smile touches Kang Min-cheol's lips as he leans closer, his voice a low taunt. He asks if she is acting this way because she thinks he is with another woman. "Na-hwi," he whispers, "are you jealous?" She flinches, her hands clutching her coat as she tries to deny it, but he cuts her off. He calls her behavior irrational, dismissing the mark as trivial. Running a hand through his hair in frustration, he calls her annoying and turns away, leaving her with a final, cold command: "Do not come here again." Lost in a daze, Na-hwi stumbles into a man on the street. He complains under his breath, but his words are cut short when he walks directly into an unmoving figure. Tae-ha blocks his path, his eyes cold and unwavering. "Watch where you are going." Tae-ha's voice is low and firm. The brief confrontation fades into the background noise of the city. Suddenly, only the soft fall of snow exists between them. The distance closes, from 100 feet to 20 to just 10. Before she even realizes it, he is there. Tae-ha watches the soft snow fall around him, feeling completely invisible. He stands so close, yet Na-hwi does not see him, her thoughts consumed by a feverish focus on someone else. A memory surfaces of his own deceit, of hiding his true self while secretly wishing to be caught. He recalls circling her out of habit, driven by a strange desire to be discovered for his wicked intentions. As she walks away into the haze, he remains under his dark umbrella, his unanswered texts glowing on his screen, a silent witness to his vigil. He sends a message, a simple warning that the snow will soon turn to rain, urging her to head home quickly. But his words do not reach her. The gentle flakes melt into a cold, heavy downpour that soaks her completely as she stands motionless in the street. Suddenly, the chill vanishes, replaced by the suffocating warmth of a memory. Kang Min-cheol's face leans in, his presence so close it steals the air. The phantom heat feels real, making her heart pound, before it fades, leaving her shivering and alone in the cold once more. Tae-ha watches Na-hwi in the downpour, his hand tightening on the umbrella. He sees her struggling, and his own composure cracks. It is hard to hold back, he thinks, when he is only pretending to be a good person. His mind flashes back to her gentle words at the convenience store. She told him that despite his troubles, he was good and had not become twisted. "Keep on living," she had urged, "and everything will get better." But standing in the cold rain, he knows she was wrong. He is not good, just foolish, and his foolishness made him do nothing but watch her cry. In a memory from before, Na-hwi stands at work, her eyes puffy from a sleepless night. She brushes off a co-worker's concern, blaming late-night ramen for her appearance. Her mind, however, is consumed with Kang Min-cheol. He did not come home, but with their anniversary approaching, she clings to the hope of reconciliation. As she plans how to make things right, a sudden warmth jolts her from her thoughts. A hot coffee cup appears beside her, and she looks up into Tae-ha's intense gaze. He stands impossibly close, looking down at her. "Hey," he says, his voice low. "You are slacking off." Tae-ha's voice is low as he leans over Na-hwi, teasing her for slacking off. He startles her by touching a warm coffee cup to her cheek. When she defensively says the shop isn't open, he offers her the drink. He admits he expected a scolding for showing up unannounced and playfully asks if he needs to be reprimanded again. The suggestion flusters her. He breaks into a laugh, then looks at her with a knowing glint in his eye. "Actually," he begins, his voice dropping, "I am not into that sort of thing." But the unfinished thought hangs between them, charged with unspoken possibility. The thought settles in Tae-ha's mind. He would be okay with anything from Na-hwi. She agrees to let him pick her up, but tells him not to come on Friday. When he asks why, her answer lands with a heavy silence. It is her wedding anniversary. The playful warmth between them vanishes. His expression hardens, his eyes turning sharp and intense. Na-hwi admits she suspected he knew she was married. He looks down at her, his voice low and firm. He says if it were him, he would hate it if another man was there for her. Taeha's voice is a low murmur, filled with a possessive heat. He says that if he were her husband, he would have hated another man buying her coffee. He would have insisted he was the only one. He leans closer, eyes sharp, asking if her husband ever said that. Na-hwi dismisses his intensity, calling it youthfulness, and asks him not to come on her anniversary. He pulls back, his warmth vanishing into a cool distance. He agrees to stay away for the entire week, telling her to enjoy the time with her husband. The polite words land with a chilling finality. Na-hwi quietly announces she is leaving first, her shift over. The scene changes to a bedroom where Kwon Hyeon-jin lounges on the bed, absorbed in his phone, while Do Hee-ji sits on the edge, looking troubled. A friend's skeptical words echo in her mind, questioning why such a handsome, 33-year-old man was single for so long. The seed of doubt has been planted. She turns to him and asks to go to his house, not a temporary room, but where he actually lives. Surprised, he finally looks up. "Can I not go there?" She presses. Kwon Hyeon-jin sighs, lying back in bed as Do Hee-ji's question hangs in the air. He wonders why she insists on seeing his place when hers is so new and convenient. His thoughts drift inevitably to Na-hwi. He imagines her waiting for him in their old, shabby home, convinced that she will always be there, that she loves him even without him saying a word. But then, the certainty wavers. Does she even know how to love? He remembers her stiffness, her lack of affection, like an emotionless doll. The thought triggers a darker memory, a tense confrontation where he demanded to know who a certain item belonged to. A sudden laugh escapes him, cutting through the quiet room. Do Hee-ji's voice sounds out, laced with confusion. "What? Why are you suddenly laughing?" Kwon Hyeon-jin dismisses her question, pulling Do Hee-ji close as their conversation dissolves into a moment of heated closeness. His mind races with the thought that a secret betrayal is a diversion, the risk of being caught a dark and irresistible thrill. The intensity breaks as he abruptly confesses his true situation. He is broke and living with family. He warns that she would want to leave if she saw his real home. But Do Hee-ji counters, admitting she has nothing either and does not care. A faint, knowing smirk touches Kwon Hyeon-jin's lips. Do Hee-ji leans in close, whispering reassurances that it is all okay, no matter what kind of person he is. Kwon Hyeon-jin looks up at her, a single tear escaping his eye as he pulls her down and asks if she wants to come to his real home. The scene dissolves into a cold memory. In their old kitchen, Na-hwi tends to a pot on the stove. She tentatively asks a freshly woken Kwon Hyeon-jin if he is busy today. He gives a vague, dismissive answer and walks away, leaving her standing alone with her unspoken plans for the evening. The memory of that day remains sharp. Na-hwi bustles around her shop, wrapping gifts and sweeping the floors, a quiet hope building for the evening ahead. But now, she stands alone on a street corner as the orange sun sets, her eyes fixed on her phone. Kwon Hyeon-jin's reply is a cool dismissal about working overtime. Her own texts were supportive, hiding the sting of disappointment. A familiar ache settles in her chest. She feels like a fool for hoping the day would be special, a painful reminder that living without expectations is safer. As they walk hand in hand, a gentle warmth spreads through Na-hwi's chest. She tells Taeha how much this means to her, how taking her home feels like a mature, serious step in their relationship. He glances down, warning her that his apartment will be cold. Undeterred, she squeezes his hand, saying his warmth is all she needs. A soft smile touches his lips as he agrees. But the sweet moment is pierced by a cold memory. Kwon Hyeon-jin in a dark alley, making hollow promises to another woman. A cruel whisper from the past echoes in her mind. It is Kwon Hyeon-jin's voice, his condescending smirk twisting the memory of her 10 years of loyalty into a foolish choice. He believed women like her, who endure hardship, would be fine with anything. But that cold thought dissolves, replaced by a present heat. In a warmly lit room, Taeha ends a call. His voice is low as he tells the person on the other end he is getting ready. The sooner, the better, he adds, a sharp intensity in his eyes. He is in a hurry now. Kwon Hyeon-jin invites Do Hee-ji into his apartment, asking her not to look too closely because it is old. She, however, looks around in surprise, remarking that it is spotless. He laughs it off, giving the credit to Na-hwi. Noticing Do Hee-ji shiver, Kwon Hyeon-jin asks if she is cold and suggests they go inside. She presses closer to him, dismissing the chill. "It is okay as long as you are holding me," she whispers, gazing up at him. She wonders aloud why she would need heating when someone as warm as him is right there. In the dim light of their bedroom, Kang Min-cheol feels Na-hwi shivering beside him. "Are you cold?" he asks. She admits it has gotten chilly and suggests they stay close for warmth. But he scoffs, turning his back on her completely. "Forget it," he mutters dismissively. "I will sleep on my own." The cold memory dissolves into the heated present. Now, in that same bed, he holds Do Hee-ji close. A thrill runs through him as their connection deepens. Knowing this is where Na-hwi once slept. He recalls her back, always turned to him. A painful memory surfaces, an affection that etched an eternal mark. It was a bond that endlessly broke and shattered, crumbling over and over under the weight of misery. A circled date on a calendar, their wedding anniversary, now feels like a tombstone for a suffocating relationship. The cold past fades, replaced by the warm, quiet glow of the present. In a dimly lit room, Tae-ha pulls on a jacket, his clothes from the night before lying on the floor. With his hood pulled up, his expression is somber and unreadable. A bell chimes softly as he pushes open the door to a small pharmacy. The clerk looks up from her phone. "Welcome," she says. Inside the pharmacy, Tae-ha approaches the counter. The clerk's eyes widen. His basket is piled high with dozens of disposable hot packs. She wonders aloud if he is going winter hiking. A faint, unreadable smile touches his lips as he hands over his card. "It is not that," he says softly, his gaze distant. "I need them for a specific purpose." The scene shifts to the quiet warmth of the bedroom. He lies beside Na-hwi, watching her sleep peacefully, the unspoken answer to the clerk's question hanging in the air. A woman crouches by a potted plant outside a shop when a quiet voice startles her. "Excuse me." She turns to find Tae-ha, his face shadowed by his hood. He asks if she could call Na-hwi for him. Inside, Hae-soo appears, and her co-worker points out her flushed cheeks. Hae-soo admits to a slight fever, asking why she was needed. "Someone came looking for you," her co-worker says. Hae-soo's eyes widen. A single name flashes through her mind: Min-cheol. The excitement makes her heart race as a foolish hope builds. What if he was planning a surprise for their anniversary? With a flicker of hope, Na-hwi peeks outside, her voice a soft question. "Min-cheol?" The narrow alley is dark and empty, her disappointment immediate. As she wonders if it was just a prank, strong arms suddenly pull her back into the shadows. It is Tae-ha, holding her close from behind. "Nuna," he whispers. She flinches, heat rising in her cheeks. She tells him not to call her that, her voice hushed with urgency, worried someone might overhear. A smirk touches his lips as he leans closer, his breath warm against her skin. "Okay." Tae-ha's voice is a low murmur as he asks if she is hurt somewhere, pulling her closer into the alley's shadows. He apologizes for contacting her when she told him not to. As Na-hwi touches his face, a jolt of alarm runs through her. He is burning with fever. She tells him he is sick and should go home immediately, but he simply shakes his head. "I cannot go home," he whispers. The vacant look in his eyes sends a sharp pang through her chest, a sudden ache for this strange, vulnerable boy. A chilling thought surfaces in Na-hwi's mind. He mentioned being in a bad situation, and if he cannot go home, maybe the injuries she saw happen there. "Wait a moment," she blurts out, her hand shooting out to grasp his. Her grip is firm, decisive. "I am not leaving you behind." He looks up, a flicker of surprise in his weary eyes. She tells him she will ask her boss for time off. A soft, almost relieved smile touches his lips as he looks down. "Then go ahead." She leads him away, her resolve solidifying. A faint smile plays on Tae-ha's lips as they walk through the quiet street. Na-hwi glances at him, her heart giving a soft thump. She asks what he is smiling about, gently chiding him for getting sick. He simply replies that he is happy to see her after so long. She looks ahead, admitting that since he stopped coming around, she has felt a bit bored, too. His smile widens, and he promises to see her every day from now on. She cannot bring herself to look away from his innocent expression as they arrive. "We are here." Na-hwi leads Tae-ha up the stairs, admitting her apartment is old and cramped, but insisting it is better than sending him home sick. As they reach her door, she suddenly stops. A cold dread settles in her chest. It is strange. The light is on inside. Just then, a woman's soft voice drifts through the door, murmuring hushed, private words that make Hae-soo's blood run cold. Her hand freezes, trembling just shy of the handle. Behind her, Tae-ha's face is hidden in shadow. All warmth drains from her expression as a furious realization dawns. Kong Mincheol. Betrayal does not just tear love apart. It shatters trust, faith, and the memories built over years. Standing frozen outside a door, Na-hwi listens to a woman's cheerful laugh from within. Ah, Appa. It tickles, the voice echoes. Haesu's hand trembles, ready to turn and flee, but a sudden presence stops her. Tae-ha appears behind her, his hand covering hers, his arm wrapping firmly around her waist. He holds her in place, his voice a low command. Do not run away. Look, so please. Tae-ha's voice, cold and unfamiliar, cuts through the haze of her denial. He tells her not to run, but to witness the true reality of her relationship. His words force a devastating realization. Their marriage was over long ago. A warm memory of her with Kong Mincheol flashes in her mind, a painful ghost of what is lost. Reality crashes down, and panic seizes her. Let go, she pleads, struggling in his unyielding grip. He only says her name, his hold firm. She shoves against him, her voice cracking. Let go of me. Tae-ha's gaze is intense as he admits he thought she would run away. With his push, Na-hwi stumbles forward and the door swings open. The sight is a brutal confirmation of her worst fears. Kong Mincheol sits up in their bed, another woman beside him. He stares at Hae-soo, his voice cold. Why are you here already? The woman, Do Hee-ji, glances over coolly, asking if this is the family member from his past. The word hangs in the air, a cruel dismissal of everything they once were. Family. Na-hwi confronts Kong Mincheol, her voice trembling as she demands an answer. Annoyed and impatient, he tries to dismiss her, blaming her for arriving so early. Unwilling to be ignored, she grabs his shirt, desperation in her eyes. Her voice cracks with 13 years of shared history as she asks if their life together meant so little that she is now just family. He turns away, coldly reassuring the other woman. He claims they separated long ago, declaring that Hae-soo is not family. She is just a stranger to him now. The word stranger shatters what little composure Na-hwi has left. She lunges forward, gripping fiercely onto Kong Mincheol. He shouts, demanding she let go, but she refuses, her voice breaking as she asks how he could call her that. With a harsh push, he throws her back. She stumbles to the floor as he stands over her, his voice chillingly calm. He explains he grew tired of their life and found someone new, someone young and sweet. A cruel smirk plays on his lips as he dares her to walk away. Go ahead, he taunts, if you can. Na-hwi stares blankly from the cold floor, the sharp sound of the impact fading. Beside her hand, a shattered vase leaks water around a single, perfect red rose, a broken symbol of their life together. As tears well in her eyes, a dizzying montage of happy memories flashes through her mind. She and Kong Mincheol are young again, laughing and carefree, surrounded by a vibrant glow. The warmth of the past clashes cruelly with the cold, silent present. The moment passes, and Kong Mincheol looks down, realizing she is already gone. From the shadows of the alley, Tae-ha watches Kong Mincheol stand beside Na-hwi, trying to explain the situation away by calling her obsessed. The words confirm everything Tae-ha already suspected. His gaze darkens as he sees them walk off, a cold thought taking root in his mind. Should he just erase his existence entirely? But he dismisses the impulse. No, that would be too simple. As his eyes follow the man who drained her youth, he decides that what is coming must not be swift. It must be slow and profound. Tae-ha reflects on the slow, cruel path that led to this moment. A dark satisfaction once filled him as he watched Na-hwi, knowing the downfall that awaited her and believing it was the only way she would finally leave Kong Mincheol. He had waited for this day, but as he stands in the alley, the reality is different. Watching her finally collapse, a sharp and unexpected pain lances through his own chest. Her heartbreak feels like his own, and the sound of her quiet devastation pierces through everything. Tae-ha's thoughts spiral, each one a solemn promise to Na-hwi. He would listen to anything she says, give her whatever she wants. Memories flash through his mind, walking beside her in the rain, sharing a quiet moment. He would take her anywhere. His gaze hardens with chilling resolve. If she asked him to eliminate someone for her, he would do it without a second thought. But he knows she never would. She cannot even bring herself to hate the man who destroyed her. He understands that the woman whose spirit is scorched black desires nothing from him. Tae-ha watches Na-hwi's back, feeling completely powerless. His mind twists the idea of love into a suffocating force, an affection that binds and drags, yet feels so right. Breaking from his dark thoughts, he gently places a hand on her shoulder. "Stop crying," he says softly, his voice low. He warns her that crying so much will hurt her eyes and throat. Suddenly, Na-hwi collapses against him, her body surrendering to exhaustion. He freezes for a heartbeat, surprised by the contact, before pulling her into a firm embrace. Tae-ha sits in the dim recovery room, watching over Na-hwi as she sleeps. A single tear traces a path down her cheek, and he reaches out, gently, tucking her hair behind her ear. His expression is soft yet determined. He resolves to erase her painful memories, one by one, believing that her wounds will eventually heal as long as she keeps going. Stepping quietly into the hallway, he closes the door behind him. Another man waits there, bowing his head slightly and expressing his relief that everything is settled. Tae-ha's associate expresses his concern. It is not just Na-hwi's fever, but the fact she pushed herself for so long without rest. He admits he cannot understand why she lives that way. A small, knowing smile plays on Tae-ha's lips as he deflects the man's earlier question, simply saying it is time to go. As they walk down the sterile hospital corridor, he announces their destination. "We are going to the flower shop." The associate stops dead, his expression twisting in disbelief. Standing on the sunlit street outside the shop, he looks utterly stunned. The bell above the flower shop door chimes, announcing Tae-ha's arrival. A young woman at the counter starts to greet him, then quickly tries to explain that the shop is closed. She stops short, her eyes widening in recognition. "Rose guy," she murmurs, completely flustered. Tae-ha's expression is unreadable as he stands before her. He calmly states that he is not there as a customer. He is here to work as a part-timer, covering Na-hwi's shift. The employee stares, utterly bewildered, asking if Hae-soo is sick, unable to process the bizarre situation. As Tae-ha waits, the two flower shop employees whisper in a frantic huddle. The shop owner playfully shoots down the idea of sending him away, even suggesting they could use his looks to attract customers. A flush of heat rises in the younger employee's cheeks, her heart thrumming. "You cannot cover a face that perfect," she insists passionately. His calm voice cuts through their debate. "Excuse me." Tae-ha steps forward, his gaze steady. "Are you done talking?" He holds out a notepad, taking control of the room. "Listen carefully." Tae-ha sits outside the shop, a handmade sign hanging from his neck and a single red rose in his hand. A young girl, led by her mother, stops in her tracks, captivated. He crouches down to her level, a gentle warmth in his eyes as he asks if there is anything she would like to buy. The little girl points directly at him. "Mommy," she announces, "I want to buy this appa." Her mother's face burns with embarrassment as she rushes to apologize. But Tae-ha simply smiles. A soft, distant look crosses his face. "I am sorry," he tells the child, his voice smooth and low. "I have already been spoken for." The little girl's mother asks with a surprised laugh if he was spoken for. Tae-ha calmly confirms that a lady already chose him. Unfazed, the child says it is okay. She already has a boy from kindergarten. As mother and daughter walk away, the scene shifts. The atmosphere grows heavy and cold. In a dimly lit, luxurious office, a man stands with his head bowed before a seated figure. The seated man, his hands clad in black gloves, swirls a drink. He asks his visitor if he knows why he was summoned. The visitor admits he does not. Placing his glass down, the seated man murmurs that it is nothing special, his hand brushing unsettlingly close to the woman beside him. Footsteps echo in the lavish room as a powerful man explains that his son's behavior can be hard to understand. He places a gloved hand on his visitor's shoulder, leaning in close. He asks if he understands his task. "Just let me know when he acts strange." Sweating under the pressure, the visitor meekly agrees. His mind races, wondering how to report on Tae-ha when everything he does feels strange. Far away, Na-hwi thrashes in a hospital bed, her face flushed. In her restless sleep, she whispers one name, Mincheol, please. Na-hwi gasps awake, her heart pounding in the quiet of a sterile room. She sits up, disoriented, clutching the thin hospital blanket as she realizes where she is. Her phone chimes on the nightstand, and she answers a call from her boss. As Hae-soo apologizes for her sudden absence, her boss's voice shifts from concern to praise. She mentions that Hae-soo's substitute is doing a fantastic job. Confused, Hae-soo echoes the word, substitute? The question hangs in the air, a warmth of confusion spreading through her as she tries to understand. Under the city's cool, green light, Tae-ha's phone screen illuminates his face. His expression is unreadable, but a soft thought surfaces. He was hoping she could rest longer. An associate asks about the message, and Taeha confirms Na-hwi is awake. A quiet heat builds as he arranges the details of her substitute, a favor that seems strangely expensive. "Do me this favor," the man requests. Taeha agrees easily, his voice low as he adds a condition for a scheduling bonus. A slow, subtle smile touches his lips as he gives a knowing nod. Under the city's stark green lights, Kang Min-cheol puzzles over what could be so good about her new situation. Whether it is born from curiosity, a whim, or simply for fun, he admits to himself that he just cannot figure it out. In a dimly lit room, Na-hwi rises, a feverish memory clouding her thoughts. She recalls a moment of overwhelming closeness, a warmth that made her tremble. As she presses a hand to her own forehead, another gently takes its place. "Let us see," BM Taeha murmurs, leaning in. His touch is cool as he checks her temperature, his voice low and intimate. "Dear Auntie, has the fever gone down?" BM Taeha leans in, gently placing his hand on Na-hwi's forehead. "Let us see," he murmurs, a soft smile playing on his lips as he asks if her fever is gone. He suggests he should stay longer, noting she still seems unwell, but Hae-soo is startled by the closeness. She insists it is fine and that she is going home. The gentle atmosphere shifts. "What about that man?" he asks, standing before him. He questions if he must still call Min-cheol her husband. Hae-soo averts her gaze, unable to answer, her voice barely a whisper. "I do not know." Na-hwi's thoughts spiral as she considers her future. What is Kang Min-cheol to her now? How will she manage on her own? Her mind drifts back to a rainy day, to a time when he held his jacket over her head, shielding her from the storm. He was the one stroke of luck in her difficult life, the person she believed would always be there. Though she knows their connection is fractured beyond repair, like a broken flower on the ground, a stubborn flicker of doubt remains, refusing to let the feeling truly be over. A memory of Min-cheol's secret betrayal flashes through Na-hwi's mind. She clenches her fist, calling herself pathetic and foolish for secretly hoping he might return. Looking at BM Taeha, her voice is laced with shame as she asks if it all sounds ridiculous. "No," he murmurs, his voice low and certain. He steps forward, the space between them shrinking until a warm current passes between them. His hand gently cups her jaw, his thumb stroking her cheek. Leaning in close, he says that if an emotion can be severed so easily, it might not have been love to begin with. Na-hwi's expression softens as she looks up at BM Taeha. "You are really a strange kid," she says gently. She realizes that in her most vulnerable moments, it is always him who says exactly what she needs to hear. Just then, the gentle atmosphere is broken by a persistent vibration. His phone screen glows, displaying a name, Do Hee-ji. It is a girl's name, Hae-soo observes, her eyes fixed on the screen. She asks if he plans to answer. "No," BM Taeha replies, his voice flat. He slips the phone into his pocket, dismissing the call. It is not important. But a shadow of doubt flickers across Hae-soo's face. She knows that is not the case. BM Taeha offers a weak excuse, claiming he hung up by accident. "Let us just talk about something else," he suggests, but the tension in the air remains thick. Na-hwi looks at him, her gaze knowing. "You should have just answered," she says quietly, her voice flat as she adds, "I think she likes you." He seems surprised, asking how she knew the caller was a girl. Hae-soo's own bitter past fuels her reply. She tells him there is no such thing as just acquaintances between a man and a woman. The memory of Min-cheol's identical lie, still a fresh wound. BM Taeha leans closer, his voice a low hum in the charged silence. "What about us then?" he asks, reminding her that they, too, are a man and a woman who talk every day. Na-hwi looks away, dismissing his words. "Do not be stupid," she says flatly. "You are still a kid." Her shoulders slump as she questions who would ever like someone like her. His response cuts through her doubt, simple and direct. "I like you." Her breath catches. She tells him not to joke, but his gaze is heavy and unwavering. It is not a joke. Na-hwi jolts to her feet, her body tense as she turns away from him. She presses her hands to her warm cheeks, trying to deflect the intensity of the moment. "It tickles," she mutters, complaining his voice is too low. A faint, knowing smile plays on BM Taeha's lips as he watches her, wondering just how long she will pretend not to have heard. Later, as they walk, she suddenly remembers her shift. He calmly reassures her, explaining, "It is okay. I already sent a substitute." Surprised, she asks who. and he simply says it is someone he knows. The substitute BM Taeha sent works efficiently, calmly handling a group of rowdy patrons with a quiet word. Elsewhere, under the cool, greenish glow of a street lamp, Do Hee-ji stands with a sour expression. A man approaches, asking about her look. Her frustration spills out as she checks her phone. Is BM Taeha not answering? She mutters, her words turning sharp. She warns that his kindness is just an act he shows to everyone, a stark contrast to his true nature, cautioning anyone from thinking they are special to him. The man with Do Hee-ji scoffs at her bitter warning about BM Taeha. Do you think he is like you? He asks, his tone sharp. She looks at him, completely baffled, and asks what he means by that. He presses the point, accusing her of being the one who smiles and gets excited whenever any man talks to her. Her expression hardens. When did I ever do that? She snaps back, her voice rising in defense. Before he can reply, she turns her back and walks away, leaving him standing under the pale streetlights. Kang Min-cheol stands in a starkly lit room, phone pressed against his face. It is driving me crazy, he mutters, looking completely exasperated. Meanwhile, on a bridge overlooking the glittering city at night, BM Taeha is flanked by two serious-looking men. One asks what he is doing. With a faint smile, Taeha glances at his phone and replies, handling some persistent collectors. The screen shows a text from Na-hwi saying she misses him. His expression hardens as he turns to his associate. I have something to say, he announces, his voice low and serious. An associate informs BM Taeha that the chairman has summoned the family for an annual gathering. His older brother is arriving soon. A cold, cynical smile plays on Taeha's lips as he scoffs at the sudden concern for sibling bonds. He jokes that the sight of him would ruin his brother's appetite. As one of his men notes the intense rivalry, Taeha is asked what he will do. His answer is simple and chilling. Just say he is gone. He adds that it is what his brother would want most, his mind flashing to a memory of a woman held close. A cold, cynical smile plays on BM Taeha's lips. He decides to give his brother a sweet lie as a welcome gift. Elsewhere, Kang Min-cheol's frustration boils over. He paces with his phone pressed to his ear, wondering why Na-hwi will not answer. He finds her on the street, a bag of snacks lying between them. As he reaches out, she fiercely strikes his hand away. Do not touch me, she commands, her voice thick with emotion. She tells him not to use the same hands that were with another woman. He denies it, but she cannot believe him. He grabs her, pulling her close and asking if she wants him to prove it. Na-hwi shoves Kang Min-cheol away, her rejection sharp and final. He does not fight it. Instead, his shoulders slump as he makes a confession. He admits he stayed with the other woman out of desperation, but swears he was never untrue to Na-hwi while they were together. His hand gently caresses her cheek as he promises not to bother her again. He tells her to take better care of herself, to eat well, and to find a man who can offer her more, his voice laced with the heavy weight of his apology. Kang Min-cheol turns his back on her, walking away into the cold, green-tinged night. Na-hwi stands frozen, her mind repeating that his words are a lie, that everything is a lie. But as his silhouette shrinks, a desperate whisper escapes her. Do not go. Suddenly, she runs, crashing into his back and wrapping her arms around him in a tight embrace. Sobs rack her body as she clings to him, her pleas mixing with angry curses. Far away, BM Taeha looks on with a knowing, cynical smirk. That is what I thought, he murmurs. The door creaks open to a quiet, messy room. Na-hwi stands in the entryway, her eyes hollow as she returns to the shabby home. Her mind flashes back to the moment she had to clean the intimate traces of his secret betrayal from their floor. She wonders if her younger, innocent self could have ever imagined this crushing reality. A faint memory of her own youthful smile haunts her. She remembers packing his life into bags, ready to discard everything. But now she just sits on the floor, defeated, unable to let go. Huddled on the floor, Na-hwi flinches as her phone buzzes insistently beside her. She curls tighter, assuming it is an unwanted collector, and silently begs them to leave her alone. But the vibration is relentless, once, twice, 10 times. She knows a call this persistent means one of two things. It is an urgent emergency, or it is from someone who truly wants to reach her. She finally glances at the screen and sees his name, BM Taeha. In another room, he answers, his voice low. You answered. A quiet reply comes from her end. I am sorry. I cannot wait. In the warm, soft light of his room, BM Taeha holds the phone to his ear, his voice a low, intimate murmur. He could not wait until tomorrow. He explains, he just needed to hear her voice. Huddled on the floor of her own dark, empty home, Na-hwi forces a small, fragile laugh at his attempt to make light of the day's grim discovery. He gently asks if she is all right. She tries to lie, to say she is okay, but the facade crumbles under his simple concern. No, she finally admits, her voice cracking. I am not okay. Over the phone, BM Taeha's voice is a low murmur. Let us try to break free, he suggests. He lets the idea sink in before his words cut deeper, invoking the memory of her husband's infidelity with the younger woman. The sting is deliberate, a shock to her system. He asks if there is something she ever wanted, something she sacrificed for someone else. Huddled on her cold floor, the question ignites a forgotten desire. A strange warmth spreads through Na-hwi. After a long silence, she whispers, there is one thing. In the eerie green glow of the street, Na-hwi clutches a small box of smokes and a lighter. A wave of embarrassment washes over her. She feels like a rebellious teenager. The memory surfaces without warning. Kwon Hyeon-jin, always with a smoke in his hand. He sees her, a charming grin spreading across his face as he greets his wife. In one smooth motion, he flicks it away. He cannot let her breathe in the haze. He tells her, wrapping his arm around her shoulders. At those words, her young heart foolishly fluttered. The memory shifts, souring. At some point, Kwon Hyeon-jin stopped putting his smokes out for her, and the thick, pungent haze became a constant, careless presence. Standing in the cold green light of the street, Na-hwi wonders if that same habit could carry her own sorrow away. She fumbles with the box, awkwardly placing a stick between her lips. But the lighter just clicks, refusing to catch. Suddenly, a hand gently plucks it from her mouth. She looks up, startled. BM Taeha stands impossibly close behind her. That is not how you do it, he murmurs. Kwon Hyeon-jin's mind drifts to a past memory, offering Na-hwi a place to live, a refuge. His voice was a lifeline, urging her to leave her old life behind. In the present, a self-satisfied smirk crosses his face. He thinks about how easy it was, seeing her as a naive girl to be guided. A vision of him resting his head on her shoulder during a quiet bus ride surfaces. He wonders if he ever could have left her for someone else. A firm no echoes in his thoughts. He would never have let her go. Ever. Kwon Hyeon-jin stands alone in the cold, a confident smirk on his face. He knows Na-hwi. She might feel angry at first, but he is certain she would never abandon him. Even if he hurt her repeatedly, she would always come back. To him, this is not arrogance, it is a simple truth. But his reality is wrong. In a dimly lit room, Na-hwi is startled when a hand gently covers her own. BM Taeha leans in close from behind her, his voice a low whisper. That is not how you do it, he says. She flinches, her eyes wide, completely enveloped by his sudden, warm presence. His thumb gently brushes over her hand as he takes the lighter. You do it like this. BM Taeha's voice is low, his presence enveloping her. A sharp click echoes in the quiet alley as a small flame dances to life, casting a warm glow on their faces. The sudden proximity makes Na-hwi's breath catch. She asks if he partakes in the habit, but he calmly denies it, a faint smile on his lips. Feeling a bit foolish, she looks away, but he simply tells her it is fine either way. With her, anything is fine. And that, he thinks, is the real problem. BM Taeha's gaze intensifies. He leans closer, his voice a low murmur, confessing he does not like it if her hesitation is because of that person. His hand gently guides hers, the warmth spreading through her skin. I will teach you, he says softly. Ask me again. Na-hwi fumbles with the stick, and the quiet alley is suddenly filled with his deep, unrestrained laughter. She protests, embarrassed, but it only encourages him. Stepping forward, he brings the lighter to her lips himself. Watch closely, he whispers, his presence enveloping her completely. The stick rests between BM Taeha's own lips. A sharp click, and a small flame dances to life, illuminating his intense, shadowed gaze as he demonstrates how to inhale. See, not hard, he murmurs, smoke curling from his lips. Na-hwi watches, completely captivated, before softly telling him he should not indulge, that he looks like a delinquent. He just laughs, agreeing easily. When she tries herself, a harsh fit of coughing escapes her. Embarrassed, she worries about the waste, but he simply shakes his head. Your body is worth more, he says softly. BM Taeha's voice drops, questioning if they can do something else. His fingers gently tighten over Na-hwi's, taking the box from her hand. He murmurs there are much better things they could be doing. The air grows thick as he leans in, his shadow enveloping her. I like you, he says, his gaze intense and unwavering. I am not joking. Na-hwi-su's mind spins. This is crazy. She tells him to stop, but he only gets closer, wishing she were younger so he could make her heart flutter. She dismisses him, saying he should find a girl his age. But his answer is a simple, resolute no. BM-taeha's answer is simple and direct. I prefer older women. Na-hwi-su is left speechless, but before she can respond, a phone buzzes, shattering the intense moment. Her eyes drift to the screen in his hand and widen slightly. The name displayed is Do Hee-ji. A flicker of unease crosses her face as she recognizes it. Before she can process the thought, he decisively ends the call. What? She asks, confused if he hung up by accident. No, he says, his gaze locking onto hers. I did it on purpose. He leans in, the space between them shrinking until she can feel the warmth from his body. I am with someone I like, he murmurs, his voice low and intimate. So I do not want to be disturbed. Na-hwi-su flinches away, her heart hammering against her ribs. Trapped against the wall, she tries to push him back with her words, asking what he could possibly like about an Andy like her. She lays out her broken past. She was married, had a husband, and almost had a child. But BM-taeha remains unfazed. A slow, unsettling smile spreads across his face. When he asks if she is serious, she calls him reckless with his heart. He simply chuckles, finding it unfair. I am more innocent than you might think, he says, closing the remaining space between them. BM-taeha pulls Na-hwi-su into a tight, possessive embrace, his body a warm shield against the world. He leans in close, his voice a low, intense murmur against her ear. I will come to you even if I get worn out, he promises, his words a heavy vow. Any remaining resistance within Hye-su melts away, and she sinks into his hold. A fist crashes down on a restaurant table, the sound sharp and jarring. A man glares down at his companion, his voice thick with contempt. You are completely out of your mind, he seethes, insisting the problem is not BM-taeha. Later, Do Hee-ji stands alone in the cold, staring intently at her phone. Kang Min-cheol approaches, questioning why she is sending messages that will never be answered. She dismisses him curtly, but he leans in, his tone dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. Do Hee-ji, he says, his gaze fixed on her. I know exactly why BM-taeha was being so nice to you. Kang Min-cheol's thoughts spiral into bitter resentment. He scoffs at BM-taeha, recalling how his casual friendliness always felt like cold indifference. He sees the man's charm as a facade, a mature act that easily fools others. He questions Na-hwi-su in his mind, sneering at the idea that Taeha could be any different from him or any other man. His jealousy builds into a furious internal shout, insisting that just because Taeha is older, it changes nothing. His final, desperate thought echoes into the silence. He is no different from me. Na-hwi-su exhales, her patience wearing thin. Are you done talking? She asks, her voice flat as she calls him pathetic. His temper explodes. Kang Min-cheol grabs her shoulders, pulling her forcefully against him. He seethes, throwing the insult back at her and redirecting it toward BM-taeha. With a cruel smile, he reveals he knows everything. He explains that Taeha's younger sibling is ill, and that Taeha is just pitying her because she reminds him of his own family struggles. He paints Taeha's kindness as a selfish, pathetic act. Do not talk like that, Na-hwi-su warns, her voice trembling with restrained anger. A sharp sound echoes as she strikes Kang Min-cheol across the cheek. He stumbles back, his hand flying to his face in disbelief. Did you just strike me? He seethes, his own anger flaring. He raises a hand to retaliate but stops, running it through his hair in frustration. He decides it is not worth it, turning away to spark a lighter. Suddenly, a voice cuts through the night. Why are you lighting up here? BM-taeha stands behind him, his presence heavy and imposing. A faint, unnerving smile touches BM-taeha's lips. He calmly points out that there is no ashtray. Before Kang Min-cheol can process his words, Taeha grabs his hand and presses the glowing ember directly against his arm. A sharp cry echoes in the alley as Min-cheol crumples, his lighter clattering to the ground. Suddenly, Do Hee-ji appears, calling Taeha's name and demanding he not ignore her. But Na-hwi-su steps forward, her face flushed, her gaze fixed on him. With a trembling voice, she asks the question that fills the space between them. Do you have a girlfriend? BM-taeha's lips curve into a faint smile, his gaze fixed on Na-hwi. His voice is low and steady as he confirms her fears and her hopes. "Yes, I do," he admits. "Someone I really like a lot." The confession hangs in the air, a silent vow that makes her heart pound. Having settled the matter, he turns his cold, dismissive gaze to Do-hee, telling her not to contact him anymore. He walks away, his silhouette disappearing into the green-tinged night. Later, his phone chimes. A message from Hae-soo appears, a simple request about his habit. A quiet warmth spreads through him. In the bright, warm light of the flower shop, Na-hwi-soo's co-worker hums thoughtfully, breaking the quiet. She admits she has been curious, finally asking about Hae-soo's relationship with the Rose guy. She lists his considerate actions, covering a shift when Hae-soo was sick, always picking her up after work, and points out that is far more than a simple acquaintance would do. The direct question hangs in the air. Could he actually like her? A flustered laugh escapes Hae-soo as she dismisses the idea, but her co-worker's knowing smile says otherwise, leaving the thought to bloom in Hae-soo's mind. Her co-worker waves a hand dismissively, laughing it off as a joke. All her previous comments, she insists, were just playful remarks. She wonders aloud why the Rose guy would spend time with Hae-soo when he has other options, even spinning a wild theory about a dramatic past. The words echo in Hae-soo's mind. Love, she thinks, is for equals. A handsome man would not like an auntie for no reason. Miles away, Tae-ha sits alone in his dimly lit room. The thought brings a painful memory to the surface. Kang Min-cheol passionately embracing another woman. The thought echoes in Na-hwi-soo's mind. Love is for equals. Her co-worker interrupts the spiral, tapping her shoulder and directing her gaze. Look over there. Through the doorway, Tae-ha sits alone, his head bowed. As he looks up, his expression is forlorn. Her co-worker notes he looks like a lost puppy that just found its owner. Pushing a reluctant Hae-soo to go see him, she insists on covering the shift. Hae-soo steps outside into the cool night, finding Tae-ha by his motorcycle, his eyes widening in surprise as he sees her. Tae-ha greets Na-hwi softly, explaining he was just passing by and wanted to see her. A flicker of concern crosses her face, and she tells him to wait before disappearing inside. She returns moments later, holding out a small gift. It is just candy, she explains, something that helps when you are having a hard time. He gestures to his motorcycle gloves, unable to take it. It is fine, she says quietly, her voice full of a gentle warmth. I will feed you. The gesture stills him. As he unwraps the candy, his co-worker's words echo in his mind. Love is for equals. He reflects on Hae-soo's innate kindness and questions what her feelings for him could possibly be. Tae-ha rationalizes her gesture. It cannot be romantic interest, he thinks. It must be sympathy, especially after she saw him looking so defeated. In her kind eyes, he was just a concern. The memory of her touch, the candy against his lips, makes him pause. He slowly traces his lip with his thumb, the simple sensation igniting a subtle warmth. Her name echoes in his mind, Na-hwi. His gaze sharpens, becoming intense and unreadable. He quickly dismisses the feeling, telling himself he is simply overthinking things again. Na-hwi shifts in her sleep, caught in a restless dream. The warmth of a past memory envelopes her, a phantom touch and breathless closeness that leaves her unsettled. A single tear escapes, trailing down her temple as a soft gasp leaves her lips. Suddenly, a new sensation cuts through the haze. A large, cool hand gently brushes the tear from her cheek. Her eyes flutter open, disoriented by the unexpected comfort. The touch feels so different from the one in her dream. She wonders who this could possibly be. Still caught in a feverish haze, Na-hwi whispers a name into the darkness, Kang Min-cheol. A large hand gently covers her eyes, heightening every other sense as the air grows thick with warmth. A soft gasp escapes her lips as a slow touch travels along her side, making her breath catch. Her body trembles, a silent struggle between memory and reality. Wait, she murmurs, a weak plea to stop. As another hand firmly covers her own, her confusion finally cuts through the fog. Her thoughts race, desperate to know who is really with her. A low voice, thick with unspoken thoughts, breaks the silence. He wonders aloud how they ever found themselves in this moment, so intimately close. The thought is met with a sharp, definitive no. In a swift, fluid motion, Na-hwi finds herself on her back. Her breath hitches, each exhale a soft, trembling sound in the quiet room. Her eyes, wide and shimmering with tears, reflect a storm of feverish confusion and undeniable heat. She stares up at BM Taeha, his shadow looming over her, a silent question hanging in the charged air between them. Na-hwi jolts awake, a soft gasp escaping her as she sits bolt upright. Her heart hammers against her ribs, a frantic rhythm in the quiet room. Cheeks burning with a deep flush, she clutches the blanket, her mind reeling. What on earth? She breathes, wondering if the intense moment was just a fever dream. An image of BM Taeha's sharp gaze flashes in her mind. She tells herself she is going crazy, but then her thoughts shift. It is his fault, too, for being so impossibly bold. She sighs, pulling her knees to her chest. Na-hwi sits on her bed, questioning if this consuming warmth is simply because it has been so long. Even with Kwon Hyeon-jin, their connection had faded long before the end. She dismisses the thought as a pathetic excuse, a wave of guilt washing over her. But she immediately corrects herself. No, the old nightmares of him leaving were not better. That is a lie. A memory surfaces of BM Taeha appearing in her life, a reckless and indecipherable man. Huddling into a tight ball, she accepts a new reality. Because of him, her days and nights are now filled with a vibrant, unnerving chaos. Finishing her shift, Na-hwi gives herself a small mental cheer for surviving another hard day. A coworker catches her on the way out, asking if BM Taeha really waits for her every single evening. With a straight face, Hae-soo explains the area is dark and unsafe. Then, a playful smile touches her lips as she adds that it is actually who gets scared walking alone. Leaving her coworker utterly baffled, she steps outside. Under the green glow of the streetlights, BM Taeha waits patiently. I was waiting, he says, his voice low as he extends his hand toward her. Hae-soo freezes, her heart fluttering as she stares at his open palm, wondering about the sudden, warm gesture. Actually, BM Taeha begins, a faint smile playing on his lips as he explains he had a scary dream. So, let us hold hands, he suggests, his open palm still waiting. Na-hwi-soo's mind is suddenly flooded with a dizzying rush of heat, blurry memories of their connection deepening in the dark. Her face flushes. Flustered, she starts walking ahead, creating distance between them. You, she blurts out, stay a bit further away. BM Taeha watches her, his gaze unwavering. Why? He asks calmly. I want to walk next to you. Na-hwi-soo turns her back to him, her voice firm as she tells him to walk over there. But BM Taeha simply steps closer, explaining that a bad dream makes him feel afraid walking alone at night. Flustered by his persistence, she can only manage a quiet, you. He offers to follow behind her, his hand hovering near her back before his fingers gently brush against hers. Is this not okay either? He asks softly. A shaky breath escapes her lips as she finally relents. Forget it, she sighs. Just walk next to me. Their fingers intertwine as they walk side by side through the cool night air. Na-hwi-soo playfully teases him, asking if the growing kid is not afraid of bad dreams anymore. A warm blush rises to her cheeks, and she awkwardly tries to change the subject by mentioning the weather. BM Taeha's smile is knowing. Are you embarrassed? He asks gently. She looks away, caught. He lets out a soft laugh, but his focus is on the undeniable warmth in her expression. A hazy, intimate memory flashes in his mind before the scene cuts, leaving him alone, silently gazing at the city lights. Two men in dark suits stand silently before a massive window, looking out over the city lights at night. The scene changes to a brightly lit airport, where a man in stylish loafers steps forward. Wow, he says with a smirk. It has been a while. Dressed in a loud floral shirt and sunglasses, he complains that Korea is disappointingly cold upon his arrival. He takes off his glasses, his pale eyes glinting. Is my dear younger brother doing well? He asks his companion, before waving the thought away with a sneer. No, forget it. I am not interested. Kwon Hyeon-jin sighs, complaining about his exhaustion and the time difference. He tells his companion he just wants to go to a hotel to sleep, dismissing the idea of the family house by asking how he could possibly rest there. He turns his gaze to the motionless baggage carousel, a single word reflecting his mood, empty. Clicking his tongue in annoyance, he rubs his cold hands together. His companion offers a distraction. Forget the jet lag, he suggests. Let us just go meet some women. A man in a floral shirt waves a casual hand, asking if he can join. His companion agrees, whispering that he will show him around, but it has to remain a secret from the chairman. The scene dissolves into a dark room where BM Taeha rests, a hand covering his eyes as if warding off a bad dream. Suddenly, The space transforms into a vast hall, drenched in an oppressive, crimson light. A figure lies fallen on the floor, small and defeated before an imposing presence, a silent testament to a decisive conflict. BM Taeha sits up, breathing heavily as he runs a hand through his dark hair, the weight of the nightmare still pressing down on him. In another, colder room, an imposing figure in a suit stands with his back turned. His gaze sweeps over a few simple items left behind, a cheap lighter and an empty bandage box. He considers how mundane they are, yet they feel utterly alien in this place. A deep, unsettling feeling rises within him, his instincts screaming that something is fundamentally wrong here. An unwelcome visitor stands in BM Taeha's apartment, his presence sharp and invasive. Taeha, still disoriented from sleep, demands to know how he got in. The man just smiles, cryptically mentioning the scattered rose petals on the floor. Frustrated, Taeha asks what he wants. The news is delivered with a calm chill. The eldest son is back in the country. The air thickens with unspoken history. Left alone, Taeha grips a water bottle, the pieces of his terrible nightmare clicking into place. It all makes a disturbing kind of sense now. BM Taeha stands rigidly in the dim light, demanding to know if the intrusion was truly necessary. His guest, a man in a sharp suit, offers a placid smile. Yes, he confirms, explaining he knew Taeha would want to hear the news immediately. Taeha's shoulders slump in resignation. You are right, he admits softly. The man places a hand on his shoulder, a gesture of both reassurance and control. Meanwhile, Na-hwi's mornings now move at a different pace. She wakes a little later, finding a small, quiet freedom now that she no longer has to prepare breakfast for Kwon Hyeon-jin. In her quiet kitchen, Na-hwi finds a strange new reality. While the mountain of debt remains, the constant presence of Kwon Hyeon-jin's hand is finally gone. Walking through the city, she can almost convince herself she is fine, even managing a faint smile. But grief is a sudden ambush. A memory of their 13 years together strikes without warning, a sharp pang that steals her breath. He once filled her entire world, and now, where he once stood beside her, there is only an empty, consuming space. She wonders if it can ever be filled again. Wandering the city streets, Na-hwi questions if she can ever forget Kwon Hyeon-jin. A physical injury would have been better, at least it could heal. Instead, she is haunted by the phantom warmth of his arms around her in their sunlit kitchen, a wound that refuses to close. She wonders just how long he will remain a constant ache in her heart. Suddenly, BM Taeha stands before her, his expression unreadable. He tells her he had a frightening dream. Please hold my hand, he requests, his voice low as his fingers gently link with hers. Though Na-hwi has been diligently cutting her spending, an unexpected impulse takes hold. She walks out of a small shop with a bag in her hand, having bought a teddy bear. It is a gift for a certain boy who is afraid of bad dreams. In the warm, soft light of a quiet room, their connection deepens, a silent understanding passing between them. A memory surfaces of a friend sewing a small heart onto a doll. She explains the old superstition. It gives the toy a soul to protect a child in their sleep. Is that really a thing? Hae-soo had asked, skeptical then, but considering it now. Na-hwi worries the teddy bear might be a childish gift for someone like BM Taeha, but a tender image of him sleeping peacefully with it convinces her otherwise. Her quiet smile is broken by his voice. Are you busy today? He asks. Though she planned to go home to sew the bear, a strange reluctance to refuse him takes hold. She tells him she is free. A soft smile plays on his lips. Then please spend some time with me. Before she can ask what he has in mind, he smoothly places a helmet on her head. Na-hwi stands stunned as the helmet settles over her hair, wondering what he is thinking. BM Taeha leans close, a dangerous glint in his eyes. To steal you away, he murmurs, his voice low. Before she can process his words, he sweeps her off her feet, his laughter echoing as she lets out a startled cry. He carries her into a building. A lock clicks, and a door swings open. Get some rest, he says softly. We are going to hang out together. His foot steps onto a floor scattered with red petals. Inside the room, a man in a dark suit waits silently, his expression cold and unreadable. And that's where we'll leave them, for now. If this one hit you right, you already know the move. Tap subscribe. The next obsession drops twice a week, and trust me, you don't want to miss it. I pulled 2 more recaps just for you. They're on your screen right now. Pick your poison. This was Manhwa Dragon. Stay obsessed. I'll see you in the next one.